491637.
Are you ready? Dan Fagan and Glen Biegel are here. They're gonna tear it up, rip it down, and shoot it straight. Fagan and Biegel in the morning on Hot Talk, KOAN. And now, Fagan and Biegel.
Go ahead. It's all yours.
All right. Hey, people. It's
Hey,
the
people.
Bonnie Show.
Hey, people. That's a good. That's a good broadcasting intro. Hey, people. What up? What up, y'all?
These are my people, my peeps.
Well, it's funny because most co-hosts that I've had just would get terrified of the prospect of having to go on alone, and so I'm cognizant of that, assuming you were the same way. And Glenn's running a little late. I was running a little late. The roads are slick. And so I told Brian, I said, if I'm not there in time, just play a little music until I can sit in front of the mic as a courtesy to you.
That's lame.
Well, it wasn't a lack of
lame.
confidence. Listen, I'll walk out of here right now and go get a burger. I mean, I have no problem letting
People would be like, "What? What's going on? I got up for this."
Well, so if Glenn and I are both running late one day, you got it?
I got it.
Wow.
I was gonna start talking. Brian and I both. We can talk. We can handle it.
All right, just go. Let's pretend I'm not here. Just take it.
All right. Well,
it's the Bonnie and Brian Show.
That
Suckers.
actually sounds better. It sounds better.
It's 6:07 a.m. Good morning.
How was your ride in today, Bonnie?
Not very slick.
No, not bad. Yeah,
I
mine
thought
either.
the roads were great.
There was no traffic, but I did leave early. So
All the green lights started for me and let me go on through. Everybody got out of my way, and I got here on time.
we did have freezing rain though, so I think the folks in the valley, might be experiencing some of that. Give us a call, 569-1080. Let us know the road conditions.
Are you enjoying this, Dan?
I'm a little thirsty.
Where's
Yeah,
your
your
cup
tea.
of ice? No, I mean there's definitely things that I, want to talk about, and they might not be real interesting
What do you want to talk
to
about?
people. Well, I don't know, the Malia and Sasha Obama dealio. I watched that video. Somebody was making a big deal about it, and I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I watched it, and I was really I was wanting to be critical of them, and they came in there for the turkey pardoning, and they were just normal. There were no bad looks. Their skirts were a little short, but hey, they're teenagers, and I don't know. Obama
So you're talking about Obama's
was
daughter.
pardoning the turkey.
And there was a Republican staffer that criticized them.
Yes, and
And
so
are you saying you didn't have a problem with the Republican staffer, or you didn't have a problem with the Obama daughter?
no, I did not have. I thought, well, when it first came up, the Republican staffer, I didn't know that's who it was who had posted the video.
Right.
But the woman, the staffer, said, "I can't believe this. This is classless."
This is the staffer, yeah.
Yeah, she was saying that about the Obama daughters, and she said they were obviously bored, and then the girls came in. They stood there. They did not look disrespectful to me at all.
There was no legitimacy to what the staffer said.
I don't think so. I mean, I wouldn't have, if I was her and she
Right.
felt that way, I don't think she should have backed down. I don't think she should have,
So you're
come out
supporting-
and apologized and all that stuff. I'm supporting both sides. I don't think that she should have come out and said, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that," because obviously she felt that way. So she should not have backed down and apologized. And now she's resigned.
Well, the thought is you never go after the president's kids.
I guess, but she came out, she said it. It was her opinion. That's all it was an opinion. And I don't think she should have backed down, and then I guess she had to resign. But, that's just because she's a Republican staffer that she did that. Had a Democratic staffer said something like that, which they do all the time about everybody, I guarantee you the same thing wouldn't have happened. But anyway, it was just funny how I went into it. I started watching the video thinking, oh, this is going to be good, and I was ready to
Thinking
just
that you were going to...
lambast those girls,
Yeah.
or Obama for raising girls like that, or, something like that, which is totally judgmental.
But don't you think it is legitimate to say to the pundits in the world and the talking heads that leave the president's kids out of it? No
Yeah.
reason to reference them, no reason to criticize them. They're just teenagers.
I guess.
They didn't run for office.
No, I mean, I guess not. But it was just funny how I was going into it. I thought it was ironic how here I was going into it wanting to, just totally find something wrong, and then I kept waiting and waiting and waiting for it, and there was nothing. So, I don't know. It's just little things like that.
What else you want to talk about?
Well, be careful. This is a warning for everybody out there. Be careful what you search for on the internet. If you're looking for presents for your significant other or your kids, if they're going to be on that computer, be careful what you search for in regards to presents for them, because your computer will figure out what you're searching for, and then it will pop up. I had this happen to a friend of mine. She was searching for something on the internet for her husband, and then later on he came on the computer to use it, and all this stuff started popping up that he was searching for, that his wife was searching for.
And she knows the gift.
And now he knows what she's getting for him.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So be careful.
That's a good point. You put on you do a search for a Callaway Golf Club.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden, you go to Google, there's going to be 5 Callaway Golf Club ads.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. They're spoiling Santa.
Right. Or
Google is spoiling Santa.
Or if you search for like a trip, like you want to surprise your significant other with a trip, or Disney World or something, and your kids are, hey, what's coming up here?
That's right. Which you could fake them out.
Right.
And search for stuff you're not going to get them.
Yeah, like a garbage can or something. And then
we're talking. Glenn Biegel popped in on us. Good morning.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Did you hear her observation? It's a good one. When you know how you search for things on Google, and then you start, like if you search a flight to Hawaii, all of a sudden you start getting ads, flight to Hawaii, $9.99, all that kind of stuff. She says that's a good way to reveal to your present giving people.
Yes.
But it's not. You don't want that.
Be careful what you search for.
Yeah, don't get that, because I've already gotten that. What they need to figure out how to do at Google is figure out what you want next.
Oh.
Right?
They need
because you already bought that. I don't need another one of those.
Isn't that scary?
I need something else.
Though?
It is.
Oh, it is.
I mean, for instance, like
no privacy.
I got up here on Drudge, and just yesterday I was looking for hotels on Expedia, and now there's a big old Expedia wanting me to buy all these, rent all these rooms, and it's so frustrating.
There's something very eerie about it. It doesn't bother me too much, because I just, I'm not going to search for Al Qaeda, how to make a bomb, how to make a bomb like Al Qaeda, 7 steps to bomb making. I'm not going to look for that kind of stuff.
No,
you just said it, though, and that's probably enough.
Yeah.
They've got you flagged.
Now you're dinged. Now you're dinged.
I'm
You just got to clean your browser.
Going to have bomb-making materials.
I wonder.
You shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to clean your browser. You shouldn't have to do that.
Oh, I think they were. Oh, I don't think the browser cleans it.
Yeah, I don't think that helps.
No, because they're making files on all of us.
Yeah, it's actually at the back end that they can track you.
Yeah.
Well, no, if I search
service provider.
If I search radio airplanes and then it's on my ads for a couple of days, and then if I clean my browser, they won't show up
they're
everywhere
gone. The
anymore.
ads are gone.
You don't think they keep a file on each one of us?
Well, they might, but it doesn't stay on your browser.
Gotcha. Well, like if I were to, let's say I were to, I'm taking a flight this weekend. I want to blow up the plane. What are 7 best ways to do that? And then I go to the airport. Do you think they'll let me on the plane?
Mark Begich will be standing there with handguns.
Anyway, I have some other ideas, and we can discuss that.
I think we should just let Bonnie take content.
All right, I want to talk about the Obama daughters, too.
6:14.
Listening once again.
All right, I want to talk about the Obama daughters, too.
6:14.
Guys sent over 20,000 pounds of king crab to Alaskan friends and relatives outside. That's more than 10 tons. New Sagaya makes it so easy. For just $165, New Sagaya sends 5 pounds of extra large golden king crab legs anywhere in the continental United States. And that includes UPS next day air delivery. And New Sagaya does it right for you. The big crab legs and claws all boxed in a styrofoam box with dry ice and gel ice. It's guaranteed to arrive in perfect condition. But you'll want to avoid the rush as much as you can, so call right now. New Sagaya will program your delivery for whatever day you specify. Just call 1-800-764-1001. The King Crab Festival for just $165. From New Sagaya, 1-800-764-1001. Or order on the web from newsagaya.com.
Mark your calendars. It's time for the 15th annual Guns N' Hoses charity hockey game, where Anchorage Fire and Police face off against Alaska's military at the Sullivan Arena. Cheer on Alaska's finest. Sunday, December 7th. There will be tons of fun for the whole family. Free pony rides and face painting. Visit with Santa and see the holiday fire truck. Say hi to Star the reindeer. Shoot to win a new car. The puck drops at 4. Come on down to the Sullivan Arena. Sunday, December 7th at 4. And cheer on your favorite team.
Being a business owner isn't easy. There's managing people, customers, income, expenses, unexpected issues, growing your brand, and so much more. Ready to be more efficient in everything you do? Then listen to Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Each week, David gives you the inside scoop on the latest business news and trends, along with tools for keeping your business on track. Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. on Hot Talk, KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 a.m. You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN.
727-5928. Visit their new location at 2000 East 68th Avenue in Anchorage.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT 92.5 FM, 1020.
One in the park as well, a sturdy kind that doesn't mind the snow.
Well, it is beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Everywhere you go. Welcome, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron, broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT, also streaming on danfagan.us. Our number this morning, if you'd like to be a part of the broadcast, 569-1080. 569-1080. That's how you reach us. Good morning to everybody. Good morning.
I made it.
Good
You made
morning.
it, Dan?
Yeah, I made it. Very slick. You know, you can't go 80 miles an hour on Minnesota on a day like today.
Okay.
I don't
That's
know
why
what
I
your
got
problem
here
is, because I
at one-
did.
That's why I got here at 1 minute till
Oh, man.
airtime.
Well, that was better than I did, which
Yeah.
was 10 minutes late. Mm-hmm.
So Bonnie's in charge of content today.
Okay.
So what's next on the
Well,
agenda?
Glenn wants to talk about my first topic, which was the Obama daughters at the Thanksgiving turkey pardoning.
Well, I have some questions about this because generally you're supposed to leave people's kids out of it as long as they leave their kids
Did
out.
you hear our
Exactly.
discussion on it, by the way?
I heard a little bit of Bonnie's, but I was in a different car, my daughter's car, and I didn't have
It only picks up Bonnie. doesn't
total
pick me up?
control of the radio at that point. So I just didn't. She didn't have stations all set or whatever. So
You mean she doesn't have her father's station preset on her radio?
no, unfortunately not.
She doesn't even know he has a radio show.
Oh, dear.
So, but here's my question. So what were they there for, and why are they there? Does anybody know that?
I did wonder. They seemed rather
Superfluous?
I don't know. Like I thought they were going to do something. You're right. That is true. I kept waiting for them to. Well, he asked one of them if she wanted to pet the turkey, and she said nah.
Okay.
But I don't know. Were
Do you
they
pet
supposed to
turkeys?
hold the
No.
turkey while he was pardoning it? Or?
So what's your point?
Well, I guess so. This is a non-event to start with, I suppose. Is
Yes.
basically the deal.
When
Because
the president pardons a turkey?
This is what I've noticed about the Obamas. His wife is truly involved in telling your kids what to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Not figuratively, not kind of, literally. She is helping write legislation to figure out what your kids should eat. She's fair game.
Yes.
Okay, she's not off limits at all. There's nothing about Michelle Obama that's off limits. She's totally on target, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
So my question had to do, because I didn't see the incident or anything. I read about it, and I know that the lady quit, the aide quit. But are they being used as props? Are they being used as extras? Is this just something, gee, Daddy would really like to come and see the turkey? I mean, was it something like that, or are they there for a purpose?
They looked like this is. I mean, their looks did say, "This is stupid. Why are we here?
So what?
I feel awkward standing here."
And that's what the aide kind of said.
And well, she went a little bit above, like beyond that. She
Above and
said
beyond.
she said they are
Uh-oh.
classless.
Whoa.
And I think that they should show more class and look at the way they're dressed. And I mean, it wasn't awful.
So what's your point, Glenn?
Well, you got to have a real. My point is, you got to have a real good reason to bring somebody's kids into it. And essentially, the only thing that gives you permission to do that is if they bring their kids into it, then you can bring their kids into it, but not even as much as they did. That basically is kind of the rule, the rule of thumb.
You should be able to, as a president, you should be able to bring your children to White House events that are as benign as a turkey deal.
Turkey pardoning.
Right, and then not have to worry about the media. I mean, there's zero justification for it, in my opinion, to bring them in a negative way.
Well, and my point was, I watched the clip thinking that it was gotta be good because it made it as a clip on Facebook,
Now, if you want to see a good Thanksgiving turkey
yes.
clip, it's Turkeygate with Sarah Palin.
Oh, we went and
You
watched
remember
that.
this.
Me and my kids went back and watched that.
No, I didn't watch Turkey. Did I watch Turkey?
Well, she's standing there, and it was Scott Jensen, who's and I talked to him afterwards. We actually had him on our show that afternoon.
Oh, wow.
He was the photographer of the year in the country. He's a great photographer, and he intentionally lined up this Yahoo guy who probably had more tobacco spit on his clothes.
Stop.
I mean, the guy was just a Yahoo guy. And he
was a Great Valley person.
And Scott lined him up
I think.
where Sarah was here, and over her right shoulder was this guy cutting the neck of turkeys, and they were bleeding all to the thing that they bleed
like
into.
a bucket. Like
it was one of the most.
They were draining the blood out.
But the Yahoo guy, who was literally out of a Saturday Night Live skit, he keeps looking back and like.
He thought it was great.
Yeah,
I can't believe I'm being
what y'all
filmed
talking
doing this.
about?
I'm all on
And
TV.
there's blood
Not
everywhere.
only that, not only the blood, the turkeys were shaking.
Violently shaking.
Oh
and so they're upside
God.
down in this cone, like the cylindrical thing upside down, and the whole thing is
It was
shaking.
they were violently dying, and the Yale guy kept looking back, smiling with his 3 teeth.
Meanwhile,
And
Sarah.
Sarah's like, well, this is a very special, blessed this time of year, and it was just hilarious.
I'm just
And
tickled
of course, the
to be part
media.
of this.
You don't remember that?
I never saw it.
You've got to Google it.
Okay, I'll
gotta
I'll
watch
stick
it.
with Turkey Gate.
It's
And it was
classic.
just the national media, everybody, it was just, that's all people talked about for like 2 days.
Well, they did ask her first, though, if it would be okay if, they were showing that in the background.
Scott Jensen did.
She said, sure, I think it's great.
Yeah, but he set her up because he was on my show. And by the way, he's a friend of mine. And he said, he's down in Seattle, but I said, you knew what you're doing. And he said, oh, come on. Finally I got him to admit it. Because he said, well, I thought it'd be pretty interesting to see the turkeys dying in the background. And I said, you set it up. You framed her up. He said, yeah. And he said, because her people say, Sharon Lahouse says that, you asked her if it was okay, and you moved her to the left a couple of feet. I mean, he totally set her up.
Oh, man.
And the second he got back to Channel 2, he put it on the feed. And it was like, like wildfire.
Boom.
So he totally knew what he was doing.
It was great.
So
I love
the
it.
whole point of it is she's pardoning a turkey,
She's
and in
talking
the
about-
background
They're
somebody's
slaughtering.
them.
Oh, and there was
But
just tons
they're
of them there.
dying violently. They're
Yeah.
shaking.
Their
And the
legs are
blood-
sticking out.
The
like
blood
their
is all
claws.
over the Yahoo guy with 2 teeth, and it was everything. It was the worst possible caricature of Alaska. This guy killing turkeys while the governor's sitting there talking about policy. I mean, it was just, if you were going to do a skit to try to make Alaska look backwards, you could not have done it any better than what they did with that shot.
And it was right after the presidential election, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was still really big,
But
and people
here's the
knew
thing.
about her.
It's her fault. And I'm going to tell you why, because someone on her inside, which I will not mention their name, told me that she had just got back. She had the VP thing going and all. Now she's governor. Governors in Alaska, governors nowhere pardon turkeys. They don't do it.
Oh.
But she thought, well, I'm an executive.
I was almost presidential.
Right. I
or
want
vice
to act
presidential.
executive-like.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
No.
I thought everybody did it. That's hilarious.
No governors pardon turkeys. That's a presidential thing. So she thought, I want to be executive-like.
Uh-huh.
And so she went and set this thing up in the valley, and it bit her in the butt like you wouldn't believe.
Poor Sarah.
Wow.
How did I miss that?
Wow. Oh, you got. Okay. I wish we could
And
show
we had the
everybody.
Yahoo on the show, too.
Oh, no.
Yes, the Yahoo called
No
up.
way.
He said, I didn't know why they kept looking at what I was doing. I figured, man, this ain't something that should be on TV. Why do they keep pointing the camera at me? Why ain't they putting it at the governor? He was hilarious.
Oh, man.
He's a good guy, you know.
What
Yeah,
a mistake.
I'm sure.
Yeah, the thing is, Sarah had me so on edge. You know how when politicians who you want to do well and you
Yes.
just don't think they're going to do well, she was like that times 1,000 for me. So watching her was absolute torture.
I
So
agree.
I totally avoided watching after that first speech. As soon as she made her first mistake, I was like, I can't take it.
I was
can't
the
take it.
same
So
way.
I avoided everything.
Yes, I was nail biting. Oh no,
Oh.
how is she saying? And really that goes to show women are just picked apart. If a man was doing that, you ignore what they're saying.
Joe Biden gets his fair share of.
Oh, I don't know. I think he gets away with a lot.
Well, here's
I
one.
think that's my
Rick
opinion.
Perry from Texas.
Yes, it's my
He
opinion
made
that
a
men
number
get out.
of errors, and he was savage for them. They kicked him out of the
I got
presidential.
2 words for you. Dan Quayle.
Oh,
If you come across as not bright
Mm.
and you're a conservative, the media will savage you.
Yes,
It's
but
not a male-female thing.
it's my opinion that every woman who is in the public eye or anything, everything they say is picked apart. If you stutter at all, people, oh, she's stupid.
I don't think that's true. I think if you come across as non-bright, as less than above average or average intelligence, then whether you be female, male, as long as you're conservative, they will rip you to shreds.
Well, then maybe it's just me. Maybe I do that
you
to
haven't-
women.
I mean, look, I remember Dan Quayle. They just made him look like he was the dumbest thing in the world.
off
Sure.
one thing that
Well,
was
no.
written on a card.
No, he made several
Wow.
blunders. I mean, he earned it,
I guess so.
Yes,
I
but
don't know.
like Obama can get up there and say there's 57 states in a speech and nobody
Oh,
questions
no, it's
it.
a conservative liberal thing.
Yes.
Joe Biden's the dumbest man ever to hold office. He really is. He is a genuinely not bright fellow. And you're right, he gets a total pass for it.
And something I saw the other day online, somebody said, bring on Joe Biden. Like that, it's bad when we don't mind Joe Biden as president.
Well, and that was essentially their insurance policy.
Yes.
Why Republicans couldn't impeach the president, because all they'd get is Joe Biden. They'd go from bad to holy
Yeah,
cow.
but that's how you know it's bad, is when people are like, all right, we'll take him.
Yeah, I don't know. My take on that was different than yours. My take on it was, you guys can't impeach President Obama because we're going to get this ding-a-ling, and God only knows what'll happen then. It'll start World War III or something.
Right.
Well, here we are on, is it Wednesday or Tuesday?
It's Wednesday.
Oh, my goodness, Wednesday, the
Midweek already.
3rd already? Because at the
Yeah, it's
beginning
got
of
to
the
be
week,
the 3rd.
it was only the 1st. And now it's the 3rd already.
Are you adding? Are you
Well, no,
okay
I'm not.
over there?
I actually have. I'm just reading what my computer says.
Okay,
My
good.
computer tells
now
me
a
it's the
3.
3rd.
Whew.
There's now a 3 over the little counter. There was a
I'm
1
getting
over it.
Dan a calendar for Christmas.
Dang it.
Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Monty Cameron, KOAN, KVNT, 569-1080. KVNT, 569-1080.
in Anchorage? Delivery is free. Wait, what did I just say? Delivery is free if you live in Anchorage. Wow, that's cool. Okay, back to the commercial. Best split firewood. Call now, 727-5928. That's 727-5928 and get 2 bundles of starter sticks with your order. Hold on, 2 bundles of starter sticks and free delivery in Anchorage? That's way cool. Best Split Firewood will deliver mostly all birch split and ready for your fireplace or wood stove, no matter how much you need. A quarter, half, or full cord. They have the best firewood in the city, and they'll even mix in some spruce if you ask for it. And don't worry if you just need a couple of bundles. Best Split Firewood has them wrapped and ready to go at half of what you would pay anywhere else in the city. Best Split Firewood. Call today for free delivery in Anchorage and 2 bundles of starter sticks. 727-5928. That's 727-5928.
Visit their new location at 2000 East 68th Avenue in Anchorage.
Cirque du Soleil Dralian is coming to Anchorage, and Allure Day Spa and Hair Design is giving away a pair of tickets to opening night, January 14th. Allure Day Spa and Hair Design, located downtown at 5th and B, has services to make that special someone feel oh so pampered this holiday season. Allure Day Spa and Hair Design, voted a top 5 salon in America by Salon Magazine, offers a full range of salon and spa services by highly trained professionals. It's hair design, skincare, massages, nail care, and more. Allure Day Spa has it all. And during this holiday season, let Allure add the finishing touches on you. Let us do your makeup or apply those eyelashes, giving you the perfect finish to your special day. Call 258-1122 today to book your appointment or schedule your treatments online at allurehairdesign.com. Gift card promotion begins Friday, November 28th. Limit 1 per person while supplies last.
Hey, Bob, how's business? Is the new website helping?
Not good. I can't figure out how to get the website finished. How did you do it?
Easy. I called web.com. They built my website for free. Then they promoted it on all the search engines.
Like Google, Yahoo, and Bing?
Exactly. And web.com has helped grow my business so much, I had to bring on new staff.
Hey, if web.com did it for you, they're perfect for me.
Call now, 1-800-535-8815. That's 1-800-535-8815. Again, 1-800-535-8815.
Local news, weather, and the Dan Fagan Glen Biegel Show on Hot Talk. KOAN. Brought to you by Connect Country Liquor. With 4 convenient locations in the Valley and Talkeetna, you won't find a better selection.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything, from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
All right, welcome back to the Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron Show, 6:36 in the morning, this December 3rd, 2014. Our number, 569-1080. We're broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT, also streaming video and audio, danfagan.us. And again, the number 569-1080. Bonnie Cameron, Director of Content for the broadcast.
That's right.
What you got?
Well, I was going to bring this up just the 3 or 4 of us, but I think it would be really interesting if we had a part of the show where, now the only thing is with this is that now I'm probably going to create more work for myself by saying this, but I think it would be really interesting to have a part where we every day would tell people what is going to be voted on, the bills to look out for in the coming days, stuff like that.
As long as they were important. Now, you don't think we would cover that already? Like the budget is going to be one of the things we'll cover.
Usually it happens, what I've noticed is that it happens, right when they're like the day of.
Mm-hmm.
But if people know what they need to look out for and what they need to contact their representatives about, because that's my big thing lately, is that people need to start getting involved. If you're upset about something, then you need to start telling your representatives what you're upset about and what you want changed, because they don't just know. And a lot of times I think their representatives, the people that they represent, get drowned out by all the special interest groups.
Well, here's the problem. People tune into this program to be entertained. That's really all the involvement that they're willing to invest. So some people will be more involved, but that's the difficulty. It's kind of the difference of the Joe Miller show, what it probably would be, because his show would probably be a lot like that.
Yeah,
and
but
it's
if you
very difficult because people are looking for entertainment. They want to laugh. They really do want to know what's going on, but they want to listen to 3 people who are kind of plugged into things. And it's just hard to give a legislative report. We're actually going to have a weekly legislative update, and that will be entertaining and informative at the same time. So hopefully we'll cover what it is that you're wanting to do.
98% of everything that happens in the legislature happens in the last 48 hours.
That's probably true.
It's really true.
But
and the rest of it is just total nonsense. They'll have 17 committee hearings on a bill.
If they want the bill to die, they'll have 3 committee hearings.
You'll never know.
You'll
never know, because all the backroom deals at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll let that bill through. That bill's not going to get through. So we can get on it, because this is someone who's covered the legislature in 3 different states. You can get up there and go, well, there's a bill that's going to say everyone must have short hair. It got to the Rules Committee, but it still has to go to Legislative Affairs, and it has to go to the Finance Committee to see how much it's going to cost, and so it's just this ridiculous process. And really, there's just 5 or 6 people who control the whole thing. And when you get down to the end of it, did those 5 or 6 people get what they wanted to make the lawmakers pushing their bills happy? And okay, we'll push it all through, and it's all decided at the very end.
Okay.
So to give people updates this is one of the hard things about covering the legislature, is that it doesn't mean anything that a bill gets through that committee. It literally doesn't, because they'll let the bills go through.
Mm-hmm.
But it's there's just it's a very small group of people that control the process.
Could get through the Education Committee, but get stopped in rules.
Yeah. Okay, but what if it's like the very final thing? Like the Senate in D.C.
So the 2 days that.
Yeah, I mean, even afterwards, it gives us a way to hold our people accountable and to say, wait a second, I didn't like how they voted on that. I'm going to let them know about it. Because honestly, when I started paying attention, I would tune in to talk radio, local and national, to see what the people I respected thought about this or that. And then I would make my decision. I would contact my senators, my Congress, any Congress people, either locally or nationally. And I don't know. I think people do want to hear both sides of it.
My philosophy of the show that I've always run has never been activism.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't like it when people tell me what to do. I don't like when movies preach to me. I will give you my opinion.
That's all I wanted.
I will tell you everything I believe about everything, and I will not pull punches. But this idea of organizing, getting people to do this, getting people to do that, I've always shied away from that.
It always seems contrived.
It is contrived.
Yeah.
And it's not my job as a talk show host. My job as a talk show host is to be honest, to do my due diligence and trying to study the issues, talk to people, research what's going on, talk to people that most people don't have access to. I mean, that's really, as a talk show host, the reason that you'll get things on this show that you won't get anywhere else is because I talk to people I have access to people that the general public don't have access to. And so they'll hear things. For example, this guy, I forget his name. I was going to get into it today. I'll tell you in a second. Who's now over the oil and gas tax division. He's a staffer for Beth Cotula.
Whoa.
Beth Cotula, the only lawmaker who publicly said, I think ANWR should remain closed.
Mm.
This guy is unbelievably to the left when it comes to oil and gas issues. And he's been appointed to the head of the oil and gas tax division. It is by far, it makes the Jim Whitaker pick, which is terrifying, it makes it seem 100 times worse. This guy is huge trouble. And I've had 3 different people tell me that, and who know what's going on. I mean, this guy is unbelievable. By far the farthest left dude down there in Juneau who was not elected. And now he has gotten one of the most important positions, the head of the oil and gas tax division. So that's the kind of thing I see as my responsibility. Because they'll never know that reading the Alaska Dispatch.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. The public gets so much thrown at them from the national media, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, all of the networks, that when you want to hear the other side, you go to talk radio.
Right.
And so it's good to know from that perspective what they're saying about the subject or about the bill that's going to be passed or was passed.
But if you want to know the sausage making process and how you as a citizen can get involved, that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
You got to research that.
There are a lot of good organizations to help with that if you're conservative. The Anchorage Tea Party, Conservative Patriots Group used to be one. Alaska Republican Assembly is out there. The Alaska Policy Forum. So you have a lot of places to go. Plus, you might be informing people on your Facebook. I mean, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I do that. I mean, every time something important comes up that I see.
Well, and
we'll do that. We'll do some part of it because Dan's planning on doing a legislative update.
Oh,
so.
I didn't know that. So anyway, that would be something that would be really good. And this might just be a political nerd thing, but me and my kids do really enjoy watching C-SPAN and the votes.
Oh boy.
We like to see, especially if I know what they're going to be voting on. For instance, if it's like the UN vote on parental rights, that's a big thing in especially the homeschooling community. We enjoy watching that and going, oh, how are they going to vote? How are they going to vote?
Ken Alpert is his name.
No.
The Oil and Gas Tax Division. Ken Alpert.
Well, people need to know that.
569-1080. 569-1080. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. Merry Christmas, everybody. 644. And Merry Christmas, everybody. 644.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give him a call. 569-1080. KOAN.
Pete's Parrot Emporium.
Pete? Pete?
How may I help you?
Help! Help!
Be quiet.
Quiet!
Silence.
If only everything in business was as easy as Wix. Wix's drag-and-drop website builder makes it simple to create your stunning website yourself. Just choose a design from hundreds of beautiful Wix templates and customize it however you want. Go to Wix.com today. It's easy and free.
Wix.com.
You know what was the #1 gift Alaskans sent to their relatives for Christmas last year? Well, if you said Alaska King Crab, you were right on. Last year, New Sagaya sent over 20,000 pounds of king crab to Alaskan friends and relatives outside. That's more than 10 tons. New Sagaya makes it so easy. For just $165, New Sagaya sends 5 pounds of extra large golden king crab legs anywhere in the continental United States. And that includes UPS next day air delivery. And New Sagaya does it right for you. The big crab legs and claws all boxed into styrofoam box with dry ice and gel ice. It's guaranteed to arrive in perfect condition. But you'll want to avoid the rush as much as you can, so call right now. New Sagaya will program your delivery for whatever day you specify. Just call 1-800-764-1001. The King Crab Festival for just $165. From New Sagaya, 1-800-764-1001. Or order on the web from newsagaya.com.
Mark your calendars. It's time for the 15th annual Guns and Hoses charity hockey game, where Anchorage Fire and Police face off against Alaska's military at the Sullivan Arena. Cheer on Alaska's finest. Sunday, December 7th. There will be tons of fun for the whole family. Free pony rides and face painting. Visit with Santa and see the holiday fire truck. Say hi to Star the reindeer. Shoot to win a new car. The puck drops at 4. Come on down to the Sullivan Arena. Sunday, December 7th at 4. And cheer on your favorite team.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080 KOAN.
2221.
Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk.
Have a holly jolly Christmas.
All right, welcome back. 647. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron, KOAN, KVNT. Also streaming live on danfagan.us. So this guy, Ken Alper, who is a staffer for Beth Cotula, the only legislator I've known who was elected and had the courage to say, I don't think ANWR should be developed. I know most of the Democrats who are elected believe that, but wouldn't say it. Just like most of them used to not have the courage to say, we believe there should be gay marriage, but now that it's hip, they all come out of the closet, so to speak. So we know where these people stand. But Alper, who was Cotula's staffer, I'm told, was just a literal, I don't want to use this word, it's a little harsh, and I apologize. I don't mean this literally, I mean it figuratively. Almost a terrorist during committee meetings when the oil company was involved, with some of the questions that were presented and some of the interrogations.
Many questions like, when do you stop beating your wife?
Well, questions
those
like
kinds of things.
Bonnie would ask Dan Sullivan.
Yeah, why do people not like you? Why
so
do people distrust you?
That kind of stuff, right.
Yeah.
P.S.
How are you going to get the
that.
trust back that you lost?
And to put this guy who worked for the most liberal senator in the state legislature, who is now a member of the Obama administration, Beth Cotula, who says, I don't want ANWR open, I don't think it should be open, to put this guy in the very crucial position of Oil and Gas Tax Division Director.
Who put him there?
Your buddy, little Billy Walker.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Walker. See,
People need to know that.
There's going to be quite a bit of Democrat appointments, and that's what we're seeing here. And they're putting Democrats, I think, in some key positions. And they're still rolling out. We've got 9 new commissioners, I guess. He's keeping some people on from the Parnell administration. But this guy, so if what I'm hearing right, it was this guy, not just Beth Cotula that the oil companies worried about, but specifically this guy.
He, of all the ones, well, from what I was told,
because the staffers do all the work, they prep everything, right?
Well, here's what I was told. It's like the Dirty Dozen movies. You know, when the what's the guy, who's the main actor? I can't remember his name.
Yul Brynner.
Yul Brynner would be one of them. Ernest Borgnine. You know, the movie. The premise of the movie is they're assembling a team.
Yep.
And they go to. There's a black guy who's always good with technical stuff because Hollywood, they feel the need to compensate for their racism, so they always make the black guy the smartest guy in technical matters. You ever notice that?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to like an Ernest Borgnine, who's the tough guy, but yet he's not real smart, but he's tough. And then literally, they're assembling the team. And they're going to go do this impossible mission and go kill the Nazis. But the movie's about the team. And in the first part of the movie, the first half of the movie, is you meet the team. And they're all a bunch of ragtag kind of characters. They don't play by the rules. They're rough, they're tough, but they're really good at what they do. That's what Walker's doing from people I'm talking to. He is assembling a team of the very finest oil company producer haters on the planet. They are the best. I mean, you can't get a better team.
This is the A team.
The absolute A team. And of all of the team members that have been assembled thus far, many of them causing great fear and trepidation into the hearts of the oil industry, none have produced more heartache, fear, and concern than Mr. Ken Alper. So he's like the what? You're
It's
going
like
to
the
put
godfather
him.
of.
You're going to put him where? So it's going to be amazing. And you know, we're all looking at this because it's such a what's a dichotomy? I think I'm using it correctly. You'll tell me.
Okay.
It's such a dichotomy because you've got these oil-hating, drooling, it's our oil people with fire in their eyes. Let's cut the producers down at their knees. And then you got Bill Walker, who seems like a statesman. But he's leading the charge, but yet his rhetoric doesn't seem to be
inflammatory.
He doesn't come across abrasive.
He said specifically that our path forward is more oil in the pipeline.
Yes.
Specifically,
But
not figuratively.
Who was he speaking to when he said that?
Said that specifically.
No, I've always thought he believed that. He just doesn't want it to be the three producers.
Oh.
He's always believed
But
that.
Repsol's there, Kalis is there. We've got a whole bunch more producers now.
Right, I understand that. But
Yeah.
it's a three producer. Again, this is a revelation last week. I don't know if you got it. He's not anti-oil. He's anti-producer. That's a big difference.
Okay.
Because you can take more control when the three producers are gone. If you got a bunch of little scattered players, state can control everything.
So you think he wants the producers gone?
Boom!
Wow.
Hit the road, Jack.
Well, that, of course, the state would never survive that.
No more. Yeah, I know.
No, the state would never survive that. So that's why I have difficulty believing that's what he really wants. What I think he wants is this. I believe that he wants the oil companies to say, if you want access to this pipeline, if you want access to infrastructure on the North Slope, we will give you a good deal. We want as many people to get as much oil in the pipeline as we want. That's what I believe Bill Walker wants, and he's going to strong-arm the companies in order to get them to agree to that.
Why would he put anti-oil people, though, in charge?
Because it scares the crud out of them, and that's part of his strategy. That'd be my guess.
Peace through strength.
Yep, that basically he wants Kalis and Repsol and Hillcorp is now up there. So now we have literally 6 producers on the North Slope, or if they're not producing now, they all soon will be. They're all planning huge investments on the North Slope this year. So I think what he wants to say is because there's an operating agreement on the North Slope, and that's what he's really does not like. He does not like the operating agreement, which essentially says you guys have a monopoly over the infrastructure, and anybody has a veto. Exxon doesn't like it, but BP and Conoco do. Sure. Exxon vetoes. BP likes it.
Jeff Lowenfeld's seminar. We've
Exactly.
all been through it.
Yeah, no. Well, a lot of people don't know this.
Yeah.
A lot of people have no idea what it is that Walker is really objecting to or where he's trying to get to, and how, essentially what I'm looking for is he has 2 options here. He can strong-arm the companies and be successful, get a gas line, and keep our industries moving forward and increasing oil production.
Strong-arm them into what?
Strong-arm them into whatever it is that he wants, and which I think is Kalis, Repsol, and Hillcorp having access to North Slope infrastructure and not paying such a heavy toll that they really can't compete with the other 3. That's my guess. I just am totally guessing here, but that's my guess is what he wants.
That kind of stuff's fought out in the courts, though.
It may be. If he fights it out in the courts, it's all over. Alaska can close up. You might as well sell your house.
Well, but the
because I think it's fought out amongst the people who are in government is the people he's putting in there to scare the oil companies into kind of doing sort of what he wants, or at least part of what he wants.
But in a time in which investment dollars are at a premium, the shale reports, and I was going to talk about this today. I don't mean to step on your content, Bonnie, but the shale permits are down. Let me give you the exact number because it is a alarming number. Give me 2 seconds here to get to my exclusive new U.S. oil and gas well November permits tumble 40% for shale oil and gas play.
Yeah,
40%. Now that's the reason we're in the glutton now, and that's the reason the price is down. And as the price lows, that shale play gets less and less attractive.
Oh, yeah.
So,
it's already fairly unattractive, although I think they can still do it at 60, which is basically where they're at now. But the Saudis are saying, we're not going to cut production. This is the most dramatic showdown at the OK Corral, at the oil cake corral, that we've ever seen. We've never seen anything like this in recent memory, And basically, the Saudis are saying, we're not going to allow the United States to become the number one oil producer. We're going to lower the price until you stop becoming the number one oil producer and accept our demands, which are, if we cut production, you cut production.
This is according to Reuters. Plunging oil prices sparked a drop of almost 40% in new well permits issued across the United States in November, in a sudden pause in the growth of U.S. shale oil and gas boom. Data provided exclusively to Reuters on Tuesday by industry data firm Drilling Info Inc. showed 4,520 new well permits were approved last month, down from almost 8,000 in October.
Oh, it's half.
The pullback was a very quick response to U.S. crude prices.
Yeah. No, things are definitely changing, and it's going to be a very dramatic impact here for the people of Alaska. It's going to be a good impact across the country, by the way.
The point is that, and I understand what you're saying about Walker bulking up to intimidate, which is a great point, and I think you're probably right about that. But is that wise in a time when instead of bulking up, we should have our nice three-piece suits on and a business card and say, please come invest here?
I don't know. Here's my example, because I always like to work from examples, and it was Point Thompson. You know, we did end up litigating Point Thompson for, I think, 8 years or something like that. It started under Murkowski, it continued under Palin, and it was finished under Parnell. But that gives us the infrastructure to start a gas line.
Well,
we kind of forced them
I agree.
through the process.
The difference between Point Thompson is we had a lot of leverage there. The Exxon did not want to lose Point Thompson. It was one of their big plays.
Okay.
But when you look at Alaska and our let's raise taxes every 20 minutes.
Yep.
And let's have a ballot initiative to raise it more. If that doesn't work, I mean, you know, when you're looking at Alaska as a general opportunity to invest and spend more money, it's different than Point, because we're talking about people who don't have anything invested here, come do business here.
Yes.
Come be a part of what we're doing.
Yeah. You're talking to Repsol, Kalis, and
all those guys, like Dan Sullivan, when he was DNR commissioner, he went all these oil companies and said, come do business with us.
Yeah.
To bulk up and say, we're tough.
If we act like we're going to go back, raise taxes on these guys, and make it uneconomic to do business in Alaska, we will be the biggest ghost town on the planet.
Even worse, we're out of money. Come here and we'll tax you because we need you to help.
That's right. The vampire's hungry.
Holidays, the last thing you want to do is slave over a hot stove. Well, don't worry about it. Relief from this hectic time of year is just a jingle away. Call 333-8000 and ring in the holidays with the Sicily Season Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. So relax and let Sicily's deliver hot, fresh, delicious pizza, pasta, calzones, wings, and salads right to your door. It's fast, easy, and affordable. Call 333-8000 and ask for the Season's Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. For the only 24-hour-a-day delivery in Alaska, call 333-8000 or save 20% by ordering online at SicilysPizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's. Wishing you and yours a safe and happy holiday season.
So if we did this Bluetooth thing, then I would also just Bluetooth KOAN thing with my computer, right?
And retranslated on 95.1 FM on K236CG, Anchorage.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. Japanese airbag maker Takata still rejecting U.S. demands for a nationwide recall of airbags that can rupture, already blamed for at least 4 deaths. But at a House hearing moments ago,
make no mistake, we will take all actions necessary to advance the goal of safety for the driving public.
Takata's Hiroshi Shimizu says they will fully cooperate with any additional recalls ordered by automakers. Honda now making its recall nationwide.
Why are we doing this? Because our customers have concerns and we want to address them.
Though Honda VP Rick Shostak tells lawmakers there may be a short-term parts shortage as a result. Nebraska Congressman Lee Terry chairing the hearing.
The time has come to bring the facts together and make sure that the unsafe airbag inflators are off the market.
Federal safety regulators threatening legal action over Takata's refusal to order a national recall. Tax breaks that expired in January would come back temporarily under a bill headed to a House vote. Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern live at the White House.
A $45 billion package would renew tax breaks for roughly 1 in 6 taxpayers, but just for the rest of this month, enabling businesses and individuals to claim them on 2014 returns. Well, the House is expected to approve the short-term measure. Senate Democrats have not made clear if they'll take up the bill. Critics on both sides of the aisle complain a short-term deal is insufficient and adds to the deficit. The White House has issued a veto threat over an emerging longer-term deal. Critical it favored big companies with tax breaks over middle-class Americans. Lisa.
Jared, reports of Iran launching airstrikes on ISIS in Iraq, getting what amounts to a no comment from Secretary of State Kerry.
I'm not going to make any announcements or confirm or deny the reported military action of another country.
He's at a Brussels meeting of more than 60 nations and organizations banding together to destroy ISIS. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced. For all of you who are inspired to create your own unique holiday cards and gifts.
For all of you, there's Vistaprint.com. At Vistaprint.com, creating personalized holiday cards is simple. Choose from hundreds of designs and add your own photos and special messages. And there's 60% off. Plus, personalized one-of-a-kind gifts are also up to 60% off. It's our best deal of the season. But hurry, offer ends December 7th. The only way to get this incredible deal is to go to Vistaprint.com, click the microphone in the upper right corner, and enter code RADIO60. Vistaprint.com, code RADIO, the word 60.
This holiday season, a lot of jewelry stores are talking about value and quality. But talk is cheap. At Helzberg Diamonds, we actually show you what real value and quality mean. With our remarkable asset device, you can see for yourself how and why a diamond sparkles the way it does. Join us as we celebrate 100 years of love with exceptional quality and extraordinary value. Helzberg Diamonds, a Berkshire Hathaway company.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to never be asked, what would you like for Christmas? And even if you did get asked, you know you wouldn't get it. For most teen youth in the foster system, this is a sad reality. But this year, you can change all that. This holiday season, you can make a difference with Pump Up the Kids. Alaska Integrated Media and this station have once again teamed up with the Alaska Center for Families and the Office of Children's Services for the 5th annual Pump Up the Kids. Did you know that we have hundreds of foster care kids who are in need? Kids who won't have much of a Christmas unless you help. This year, make a holiday wish come true for a local teen youth foster child by adopting a wish list. Go to alaskaim.com and click on the Pump Up the Kids logo to register. We'll contact you and get you a wish list. Or simply make a donation.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime, movie times, previews, and more. Get tickets, win some, lots of information to explore. Great restaurants. Now you'll know just where to go before and after every show. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can go your own way.
We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Do you remember that Beatles song? If the rain comes, they'll run and hide their heads. You know which one I'm talking about. Well, if that's you, and you're inside your home or office, it's time to call Earhart Roofing. Call Earhart Roofing for all your roofing needs. Flat or pitched, large or small, Earhart Roofing will do the job quickly, and they'll do it right. Earhart Roofing, big enough to serve you and still small enough to care. Call 345-5555. That's 345-5555. Hot Talk KOAN. You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
292. Although it's been said many times, many ways.
Oh, that's so pretty. Let's hear a little bit of that.
It's gonna invalidate our video.
Oh, well, it's okay. Let's hear a little bit of that. Broadcasting is 99.9% of our audience. That is so beautiful. Isn't that beautiful? I just love Christmas time. Out of bitterness and resentment. Because, it used to be...
Great motivation, by the way.
It used to be you'd say Merry Christmas because you had the spirit of Christmas in your heart. And but now, because I know there's so many people who will say Happy Holidays because they don't want to offend, that so angers me. I'm like, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bastard. If you don't like it, you better.
I say Happy Holidays before, Thanksgiving. Because then you've got Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, or Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's.
I could be in a temple, an Islamic temple, or a Jewish temple. I'm going to say Merry Christmas.
Before Thanksgiving hits even?
I don't care if it's Easter. I'm going to say Merry. This whole, Happy Holidays. There was a girl I was dating once. And, if I were to write down the reasons that my relationships ended, it's just, That's
very Seinfeldish.
This cannot be possibly one of them.
That's a book. But she wrote Happy Holidays on her Christmas cards. And I said, why? She says, well, I don't want to offend people. Said, it's been nice knowing you.
Yeah.
It's really been nice knowing you.
You've offended me.
Then don't send out Christmas cards.
You're very attractive. And you have wonderful teeth, but I'm sorry.
I
cannot date someone who will not say Merry Christmas.
I love the picture of the Christmas tree lot, the real Christmas tree lot, where it says Christmas trees $5 per foot, holiday trees $10 per foot. Merry Christmas.
Oh, that used to make me so mad. The way the Vegas administration used to call that a holiday tree.
Oh, that is
in the town
infuriating.
Square. Oh.
Yes.
Oh, that made me so mad. It's a Christmas tree.
Oh yeah.
There's no such thing as a holiday tree.
Holiday parties.
Yeah.
Come
that
on.
kind of stuff makes you so mad.
Come on. Let's just all be politically incorrect here and just have a good time.
And the left, they roll their eyes when you talk about a war on Christmas. And I'm not saying there's a war on Christmas in that they want Christmas to go away. But there is this political correctness.
Mm-hmm.
Xmas sale.
Yeah.
It's Christmas. It's always been Christmas.
But there can be a war on women. War on women. It's a war on Christmas.
I think the kind of when the left overreaches like that, it really helps our cause.
Mm-hmm.
Because it causes us to rally around things that we hold very dear. This is a nation that really embraces the holiday of Christmas. Christmas is a big deal to us, Americans. And for the left to come in and try to take the word Christmas out of our vocabulary, they're reaching.
The biggest eye-opener was last night when the 50th anniversary of the Charlie Brown Christmas was on. I don't know if either of you saw that. Did you see that, Brian? Well, in it, Linus, I think it's Linus, talks about, he says, I'll give you the real reason for Christmas, Charlie Brown. And he tells the Christmas story, the story of Jesus' birth.
On earth, goodwill
and
to
it
man.
was so, it was such a tearjerker because you do not see that, especially on ABC anymore. And it was refreshing to hear that.
That's right.
But that was 50 years ago that was made.
The Bible.
Can you imagine that
on
now?
Network television.
Right.
What would be fun is to find out whether or not there's any school districts in the country anymore that will allow a student in class to say Merry Christmas.
Oh. Yeah. Well, they're not allowed to use the Bible as reference or anything like that for reports. And
Well, they've been removing Christmas songs, traditional Christmas songs. Any
Jingle Bells is okay, but Oh Come All Ye Faithful is not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so they've been removing all this stuff from, the lexicon, from basically, what people can and can't say.
Yeah.
The thought police, the word police, the National Teachers Union, who are anti-Christian, anti-religion.
The leaders are.
Yeah. Well, and essentially because they know that it is a competitor of theirs, that they have their own beliefs about what people should and shouldn't know and believe, and that sometimes religions disagree with them. And so essentially they want control over it. They have control, and they're exercising it.
well, and it's ironic to me how they'll, teach the Constitution. I guess they still do that in schools, but yet then your First Amendment right, your Second Amendment right, stops at the door. Don't bring that in here.
Yeah. What would happen, by the way, if the kids were allowed to say Merry Christmas? I imagine people's heads would pop off. I don't know. The lawyers would show up for
Yeah,
sure.
they get in trouble for wearing cross necklaces anymore.
Yeah.
so.
Muslims would melt. I don't know. They just
implode.
Now you sing in a choir.
Yeah.
You sing religious songs, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Oh Come All Ye Faithful, Silent Light, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I love that. I love the old traditional. Oh Holy Night was my dad's favorite.
Oh, mine too.
You
By
guys
far.
sing that one?
Yeah.
Oh, I love a choir singing Christmas songs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Especially in parts. It's still moving when you have all those different voices mixing together, and it's definitely it does make the season. I truly think. We used to go out. I don't know if you guys ever did this, but we actually sang Christmas carols to people in our neighborhood.
Like on Christmas Eve?
I got one better on you. We used to go on the streetcars in New Orleans and sing on the streetcars.
That's
Going
cool.
up and down Canal Street.
That's neat.
That was
And it was probably 70 degrees too, huh? Yeah.
It wasn't typically that chilly. It was normally around 75, 76.
Now, how many people were on the streetcar when you were?
Well, we would go, like our youth group would go, with like 30 people.
Uh-huh.
And there'd maybe we'd make up half the streetcar maybe. But you could hear us, because, streetcars, they don't go that fast.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so gorgeous. In New Orleans, like on St. Charles Avenue, there's Christmas decorations everywhere, Canal Street. And so it was literally not just for the people in the streetcar, but people who were all around it.
Sure. Now, there's an offended class, by the way, of people whose job it is to be offended at whatever it is you're going to do.
Right.
and
the offense industry.
Yeah, and I do wonder whether, and they're backed up by lawyers.
Yeah.
In most cases, do you think they still do that? Do they still get on the streetcars and sing Christmas carols?
I hope.
Well, are those streetcars paid for by the taxpayers?
Yes. Well, no. I mean, the riders pay. It's like city buses. It's public transportation.
Yeah.
So it is probably still propped up.
It's probably supplemented.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that there's lawyers who would look out
Well,
for that.
it was actually, I say our church group. It was our catechism group.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't go to Catholic school for like 4 years, so I had to go. I went to catechism to supplement my Catholic upbringing, and we used to go and do that. And I loved it. It was awesome.
Good memory.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible memory. 569-1080, 569-1080, that's the number. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron, KOAN, KVNT. Time currently 7:14. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron, KOAN, KVNT. Time currently 7:14.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
Mark your calendars. It's time for the 15th annual Guns and Hoses charity hockey game, where Anchorage Fire and Police face off against Alaska's military at the Sullivan Arena. Cheer on Alaska's finest. Sunday, December 7th. There will be tons of fun for the whole family. Free pony rides and face painting. Visit with Santa and see the holiday fire truck. Say hi to Star the reindeer. Shoot to win a new car. The puck drops at 4. Come on down to the Sullivan Arena. Sunday, December 7th at 4. And cheer on your favorite team.
You know what was the #1 gift Alaskans sent to their relatives for Christmas last year? Well, if you said Alaska king crab, you're right on. Last year, New Sagaya sent over 20,000 pounds of king crab to Alaskan friends and relatives outside. That's more than 10 tons. New Sagaya makes it so easy. For just $165, New Sagaya sends 5 pounds of extra large golden king crab legs anywhere in the continental United States. And that includes UPS next day air delivery. And New Sagaya does it right for you. The big crab legs and claws all boxed in a styrofoam box with dry ice and gel ice. It's guaranteed to arrive in perfect condition. But you'll want to avoid the rush as much as you can, so call right now. New Sagaya will program your delivery for whatever day you specify. Just call 1-800-764-1001. The King Crab Festival for just $165. From New Sagaya, 1-800-764-1001. Or order on the web from newsagaya.com.
Are you unsure about how to use the health insurance marketplace at healthcare.gov? I was, until I went to a free educational session presented by a United Way navigator. I got questions about the Affordable Care Act answered, learned about options for coverage, how to use the online marketplace, and got assistance with enrollment. Now I'm signed up for the healthcare coverage I need. To hear more about these free sessions, call 211 or 1-800-478-2221.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
Oh, this is is that Bing Crosby? Oh, he's good. Great voice. (7:17) Fagan Biegel Bonnie, Dan Fagan, Glenn Biegel, Bonnie Cameron, KOAN, KVNT, 569-1080 is the number. Can I tell a quick Christmas story?
Please.
You know what? Do me a favor, Brian. Would you Google the song Toyland? And when you get it queued up, let me know.
I could just sing it for you.
My dad loved Christmas. It was his favorite thing. He loved Christmas. And it was such an important deal for us. And we had to follow the same rules every year. And it's very, the rituals was very important. Every year that I was born, we had pictures of me and my 2 sisters coming down the hallway and looking at the presents under the tree for the first time.
Oh, I love that.
And and it's literally every age. It was me first, then 2 years later it was my sister Diane, then 2 years later it was my sister Mary, and then of course it grew to me, my sisters, their husbands, me, my sisters, their husbands, their kids, my dad's mom, my mom's, it just...
How big is this hallway?
I know. Well, we got to the point where you had to almost fill out the living room, but we have these pictures every year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a great thing. And here's how the ritual would work. Starting when we were young, you'd wake up, me and my 2 sisters, and we'd, can we go? And my dad would want to shave first. He was a big deal on shaving. And then he'd run over to Mackenzie's Donuts and get donuts and all that. And then we were sitting in our bedrooms just waiting. And then when we heard the song Toyland, it was time to come down.
Oh.
You got that song ready, Brian?
Cute.
Listen to this. Oh, this is gonna. The bike and the skateboard and the dollhouse and all that stuff. And that was every year. And then once we'd all we'd stop for a snack and donuts, all that. And then we'd have a big meal at the end of the day, like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. Such a wonderful, wonderful thing. Such a big deal.
You're going to make me tear up.
Really?
The stairs, let me get the recorder, the camera going, and
Right.
and then they come up and I have to get the first. I'm very sentimental.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what it was about Christmas that my dad loved. I just think he liked to see his kids, excited and happy, and I think that was a big
The gift of giving is more
Yeah.
important than receiving.
Absolutely.
Yeah, traditions, and I hope
traditions.
I hope people keep their traditions.
Very true.
'Cause
They're
that's
so
what
important.
Well, if you don't do it year after year after year, you'll forget because it won't be that pattern that you recognize.
That's right. Traditions are important. They really are.
When we were in Palmer, living there, and I worked for a Lutheran church out there, we started going to church on Christmas Eve for the candlelight service. And I had never done that before.
Oh,
It
yeah, I
was
love the midnight
so
mass.
important and beautiful. And
Yeah.
the kids then take a moment out to say, oh, it's not just about the presents
Yeah.
and, all the commercialism.
That's right.
It's about Jesus. And
Yeah. Well, the
loved it.
midnight mass at St. Louis Cathedral in New Orleans, which is this, one of the 5 most beautiful cathedrals in the country, with the painted ceilings. It was just amazing. Down right in the heart of the French Quarter, and the choir is just incredible. And I've been to many of those. It's just such an incredible experience.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. It's a good time. Christmas.
It's all here.
And now
Here
we
it
have
is.
snow
Yeah, now
to
we
go
got
along
snow to
with
go
it.
with it, and cold, and icy roads.
It wouldn't be the same without it, though, really.
Yeah, you're right. And living in New Orleans, it snowed it wasn't Christmas. It was like 3 days afterward. And it was once every 10 years in New Orleans, but that is a big deal here, I think.
Now, do you ever have a problem with one child getting too many gifts and the other children had to wait while the other one opened up the remainder of their gifts?
Yes.
Well, that's
You
what
did?
we just did them one at a time.
Well, my kids, yeah.
Yeah, but what if one person got 4 and the other person got 6 and then the other person got 12?
Well, I always
don't you
justify
delegate
it.
that? Don't you? Because my dad, if we had 3 stockings, and if he gave us like a gift certificate at Burger King for $4, and then I had an extra thing in there, then my sister Mary would get a gift certificate for $6
Yes.
to make up for the 2.
That's right.
He was like straight across the line.
Fair.
He
Oh.
made sure everybody got exactly the same.
Yeah.
From him, but what about from everybody else? I mean, you have other families that are giving
really
gifts to you.
didn't, because we didn't
You
really
never
have
had that trouble? Okay.
My kids are pretty good about it because, well, there's a 5-year difference between them. So my son, who's the older one, was always getting the bigger, more expensive, sets of things.
You're singing my tune.
Yes,
You're
and
singing
then
my
and
tune
then
here.
my daughter would get the little ones, and so she'd get a lot more.
As we delve into
But-
the real meaning of Christmas, which is my brothers and sisters got
Yes.
more than I did.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Am I sensing a little bitterness here, Glenn?
I got my
For
dart
you-
gun set and my
For
cereal,
you as
and
a
that's
kid,
what I wanted.
If he was a kid or as a dad, you see that as a problem.
I don't. I
Busted.
don't. Well, I don't keep track of these things. If
So when
my
you were
kids,
a kid, it didn't bother you.
No, that's when it did bother me.
Oh.
I don't want anything as a dad.
you were a middle
I really
kid.
don't need.
No, but I
anything.
mean, as a dad, were your kids concerned that they didn't get equal?
Oh
treatment?
yeah, no.
Okay.
All of the kids are like. Normally, it's just the kids that are really close together and of the same sex,
Yeah.
so that there's sort of a competition that's going on there.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that will happen. There's usually one kid who's sort of got this long face, and they get to
Poor
come
me.
sit on Dad's lap,
Oh.
and
569-1080. Let's go to Todd. Todd, you're on. Merry Christmas, Todd.
Hey, good morning. This isn't originally why I called, but I just wanted to let you know that what I was told as a public school teacher when I questioned whether or not I could say Merry Christmas is, well, you can, but we're not going to support you if someone complains.
Interesting.
Sad that you've even had to
chilling.
ask.
Well, it is sad, but actually that was very helpful because now I know that I'm going to do it anyway,
That's right.
and I know what the consequences are,
Good for you.
potentially.
Good
So.
for you.
But the reason why I called is you're talking about Christmas traditions and the real meaning of Christmas. And ever since my kids were born, we had a little Fisher-Price nativity set.
Oh, yeah.
And what we did was we removed baby Jesus.
Yeah.
And we put him, and we still do this, and they're 15 and 12, and we put him in a little box, and we wrap him, and nobody knows, and it's not always a little box. Sometimes it's a big box. Nobody knows where baby Jesus is.
Oh, fun!
And at some point in the Christmas, jubilation of present unwrapping, when everyone is being very covetous.
Yes. Yes.
Someone opens up baby Jesus.
Yeah.
And it's a great reminder of the real reason why we're sitting there celebrating Christmas and opening up presents.
What a good tradition.
Yeah, and it's even at 15 and 12, they're still wondering, well, gee, am I going to get to open up baby Jesus? So it's a fun thing that we do, and you guys made me think of that with your Toyland tradition there,
That's
Dan.
a great idea.
Yeah.
Have a good morning, guys.
Thank you, Todd. Appreciate your phone call. 569-1080. Yeah, you hate that it has become so commercialized and so materialistic.
Mm-hmm.
I went through that, though. I mean...
You went through what?
The sort of the materialization of Christmas, too, where you just try to, because you'd end up spending...
You mean as a kid or as an
$1,000,
adult?
$1,500, mostly on the kids.
Yeah.
When I became an adult, we did not have much when I was young. So
yeah.
But I still noticed when other people got more than me. But that was okay. I'm over it.
Yeah.
Well, I can't speak. I bought a TV.
But it was a $98 TV. I mean, who's ever even heard of that?
Yeah.
It's fun just to buy a $98 TV just to have one, so you can say, this is a $98 TV. How
And
do you
actually,
like that?
when I admitted that the other day, and then I said, oh yeah, and the Blu-ray, my husband was listening, and so he said, oh yeah, you did that. That's the first I've heard about it.
So that was his gift?
Kind of let the cat out of the bag.
No.
Oh.
I had told him about the TV, but I didn't tell him about everything else that went in the basket too.
Oh, okay.
But this is what went wrong for me as it got commercialized, is I would never get the gift that I wanted, because how could anybody possibly know what kind of electronics I really wanted?
Yeah.
So I would end up just buying my own gift. And that basically is what
Did you ever take something back and then buy what you really wanted?
No, I mean, I don't know that I ever got to that extent, because they didn't even try,
Well, I will tell you that this is really going to kill anyone who has a Christmas spirit. But my poor family, bless my family.
Bless their hearts.
They all know that I'm obsessed with golf.
Mm-hmm.
So they get me every kind of crap gift that has anything to do with golf. They actually gave me once one of these little things that you shake, and there's like a golf course thing inside it, and you shake it.
Is there snow in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, anything that has to do with golf. Oh, Danny will like that.
Do you still have it?
I've got in my closet in my mother's house.
Chocolate golf ball.
I have $20,000 worth of golf paraphernalia that is nothing but junk. And every year I say, don't get me anything golf. That stuff is not for golfers.
Unless it's a gift
For
certificate.
people who have friends who are family who are golfers.
Oh.
I mean, get golf towels, golf pictures, golf gadgets.
Because the golf club you want is $350 for one club.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Or the right kind of golf balls.
Yes.
They don't know what kind to get. Yeah. And it's just, they think, but the intentions are good.
Oh, no.
You're so spoiled.
And you credit them for that.
No, I don't. Because I told them
whatsoever.
no golf stuff. 729. Yeah, thank you. Glen Biegel, Body Camp. No golf stuff. 729. Yeah, thank you. Glen Biegel, Body Camp.
And the world is your...
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
From the Fox Business Network, stocks are trading modestly higher as the Dow Industrials dip in and out of record territory. At around 11 a.m. Eastern, the blue chips are up 19 points. Johnson & Johnson reportedly has hired Goldman Sachs to explore a sale of Splenda, its artificial sweetener. Sources tell Reuters the process is still at an early stage, with prospective buyers currently signing non-disclosure agreements. And investors are looking over more economic reports today. Payroll processing firm ADP says 208,000 jobs were added to the private sector register last month. The estimate was for 221,000. October's number was revised higher to 233,000. The big monthly jobs report from the government will be released on Friday. And U.S. service firms expanded at a faster pace in November. The Institute for Supply Management says its services index rose to 59.3, topping the estimate. Any reading above 50 indicates a growing economy. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Joelyn Kent.
This holiday season, give the most eternal, unique gift of the year. Name a star after someone. I'm Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $54 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, we'll name a star after anyone on your gift list. The star name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office, and we will send an incredible personalized gift package. Call the Star Registry, 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com for the gift that shines forever.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. New Governor Bill Walker has held his first press conference, during which he announced the appointment of Valerie Davidson, formerly of the Alaska Native Tribal Health Consortium, to head up the Department of Health and Human Services. Matanuska-Susitna Borough Planning Commissioners have delayed a decision on a proposed dump in Palmer, and Kent explains why.
More than 100 people turned out Monday night for a public hearing on the proposed construction waste dump site, which some say poses a risk to drinking water. The commission was down 2 members and a third recused himself due to prior business dealings, so the board did not have a quorum to vote. The public hearing will continue on December 15th, and a vote could possibly come during that meeting.
Alaska's Board of Education will meet in Anchorage later this week. Members are considering new regulations related to charter schools, correspondence programs, and discipline of students. That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
For today, we'll have a blend of sun and clouds, high 28, a partly cloudy night, low 21. Then tomorrow, a partly sunny day, high 29, and a low tomorrow night of 20. Partly sunny skies again Friday with a high 27, then Saturday becoming mostly cloudy with a high 27. Cloudy day for Sunday, high of 30. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Best Split Firewood can deliver split firewood to your house today. And if you live in Anchorage, delivery is free. Wait, what did I just say? Delivery is free if you live in Anchorage. Wow, that's cool. Okay, back to the commercial. Best Split Firewood. Call now, 727-5928. That's 727-5928 and get 2 bundles of starter sticks with your order. Hold on, 2 bundles of starter sticks and free delivery in Anchorage? That's way cool. Best Split Firewood will deliver mostly all birch split and ready for your fireplace or wood stove, no matter how much you need. A quarter, half, or full cord. They have the best firewood in the city, and they'll even mix in some spruce if you ask for it. And don't worry if you just need a couple of bundles. Best Split Firewood has them wrapped and ready to go at half of what you would pay anywhere else in the city. Best Split Firewood. Call today for free delivery in Anchorage and 2 bundles of starter sticks. 727-5928. That's 727-5928.
Visit their new location at 2000 East 68th Avenue in Anchorage.
Local news, weather, and the Dan Fagan Glen Biegel Show on Hot Talk. KOAN. Brought to you by Connect Country Liquor. With 4 convenient locations in the Valley and Talkeetna, you won't find a better selection.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Happy holidays from Specialty Truck and Auto. Please help me make sure our military members know how much you're appreciated this holiday season. While you're out Christmas shopping or celebrating with family and friends, join me in shaking the hand of a military member and give a heartfelt thank you each and every chance you get. If you happen to see a military member out enjoying a meal, you might consider quietly paying for their meal as a sign of your gratitude for the sacrifices they make for each of us every day, which allows each of us the freedom to celebrate this holiday season in whatever fashion we choose. Thank you from Specialty Truck and Auto.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080KOAN.com.
Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him.
Love the old school Christmas stuff. Little Bing Crosby there, I believe.
You can even hear the fire crackling in the background.
How about that? Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel,
There it is.
Bonnie Cameron, KOAN, KVNT, broadcasting, also streaming on danfagan.us. Our telephone number, 569-1080, 569-1080. I'm told that the very unusual move to have the Speaker of the House and the Senate President miss an inauguration, which is what happened on Monday. Kevin Meyer, Senate President, Mike Chenault, Speaker of the House, were not present at the inauguration Monday.
Did they have a good reason, or?
Well, what I'm told is that there is some real bad blood already between the leaders in the legislature and Mr. Walker. And in particular, they're upset that Mr. Walker just basically fired everyone in the Parnell.
Mr. Whitaker, actually. He fired everyone.
I suppose, but you'd have to figure he had Walker's approval, right?
Yeah, I would guess so.
Yeah.
A lot of times the chief of staff basically runs the governor's office.
But something as big as that.
People don't know.
Something as big as that, you're going to check with the big cheese.
Yeah.
They want to fire everybody.
Yeah, you would think.
I think he was probably directed to fire people.
Yeah.
And the thing is, typically the protocol is the governor, the former governor, Parnell, would ask for resignations. And then, it would be a different process. And look, one thing that I suspect about the Walker folks is that they're employing, and it's us versus them mentality. We're for Alaskans. These guys aren't. And they're going to govern accordingly. I could be wrong about that. That's my suspicion. I hope I'm proven wrong.
You think that's where they're going to go, or that's where they already are, and that this is part of that?
I think that's where they already are in their hearts. Sorry for that word, but I think this might be the first shot over the bow.
Okay.
And I may be wrong. Look, we're gonna take this administration step by step. And we do know the very first thing that Governor Walker did was create anywhere from 12 to 14, or what I hear even as high as 30,000 new welfare recipients.
Has he done that? Oh,
Medicare.
He's promised to do that. He hasn't done it yet.
Well, yeah, he actually announced when he announced his Commissioner of Health and Human Services, who, by the way, has never supervised a single individual ever once at any time, at any point.
Really? And she's over what? She's over 1,000 people?
Oh,
3, 4, 5,000
But
probably.
she's for Medicaid expansion, so that's all that mattered.
But that's what he said when he announced her. He said this will begin the process of expanding Medicaid, as I promised, and that will produce many more welfare recipients on the state dole.
So you've heard up to 30,000 now.
30. Well, I read that yesterday somewhere. I know the Alaska Policy Forum, which I would trust, they had 12 to 14,000.
And I think they're
never really know.
They're basing that on the fact that many people are double counted.
I think it was Channel 11, and Channel 11 did this story. Oh my goodness, bless Channel 11, bless their hearts.
Yes.
They went and found this gal who was like 24 years old who worked at a daycare, and she didn't make enough to get this subsidy or that subsidy, and so she couldn't get health insurance. She's an adult, and so this will give her. She will be one of the people that will now get the free health insurance. Now, what they didn't tell you, Glenn, is that, and she had a daughter. Of course, her daughter is covered by Denali Kid Care, so that's not an issue. But what she didn't tell you, if she went down to Walmart or Fred Meyer and said, "I'd like to work 25 hours a week," she'd get health insurance. They don't ever tell you that. They always leave that out of the story.
You want to know what else they didn't tell you? that if she moves from making $20,000 a year to making $30,000 a year, she doesn't qualify for welfare anymore, and she'll have to pay for her own, well, part of her own health insurance coverage, but she'll have to pay for her own health care. I just want to be real clear here that there's a huge difference between welfare and Obamacare. People cannot possibly afford to go to the doctor under Obamacare. This is what they're finding out. The more people are unable currently to go to the doctor because they can't afford the deductibles and the premiums, or the deductibles and the copay, that there's no possible way they could go. So there's a huge disincentive for this woman to go and get another job so that she makes more than she would qualify for this welfare.
Well, Glenn, Nancy Pelosi characterized it a little differently than you did. Okay. This woman is no longer chained to her job or handcuffed to her job.
I'm saying she is.
And then Pelosi even added a caveat and said now she's free to do something like write poetry if you'd like.
There you go.
That's not a joke. I'm not embellishing that.
Yeah. Well, my point is this. Being on welfare and getting free health care is far different than having a $5,500 deductible.
Yeah.
It is far different than having a 40% copay for procedures you could never afford anyway. So if she does go get, my point is this. Let's say she makes 20 grand. If she gets another job and makes another 10 grand, 30 grand, now she's out of poverty. She no longer qualifies for this welfare.
Right.
Now she's got to go on Obamacare. If she has any medical issues whatsoever between her and her daughter, she will end up probably paying around $10,000 because of the deductible and because of the copays.
Yeah.
So she just gained $10,000 in income, but she loses $10,000 by losing her welfare.
And
that's what I'm saying.
And before Obamacare, she would just go down to Providence. Let's say she got pneumonia. She would get treated, and she'd pay nothing.
I don't know that she would pay nothing. They would try and get money out of her.
She had no money to give.
No, everybody's got some money. They might have gotten $1,000 from her.
Before Obamacare, they would have worked with her.
Yeah, they would have worked.
And they would have given her
point.
probably 80 or 90% off.
That's a huge difference.
Yes.
That's my point. And what Channel 11 did not tell you, there were so many inaccuracies in this story, is that the media will never make the distinction between health insurance and health care.
Yep.
And they made it sound as though if it wasn't for Walker expanding Medicaid, if this woman got a cold, she was going to die of that cold because she couldn't get an aspirin.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally the picture that they painted with this story. They took this poor little 24-year-old and said, finally, this woman will live because Bill Walker has expanded Medicaid. She was destined to die in early life. And it is literally the story they did.
Wow.
I thought it was ironic that...
Well, that's advocacy. That's what that is.
Well,
that's not journalism. It's advocacy.
These reporters don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm just pointing it out to the listeners just in case they couldn't identify it.
I thought it was ironic that he appointed the person to...
Walker?
Yes, the Medicaid, well, the Health and Human Services or Health and Social Services director or whatever, the day that doctor was found guilty or sentenced for over $1 million in Medicaid fraud.
Yeah.
Now, what is it that this lady did? She almost sounded like an architect of Obamacare.
It was a psychiatrist.
A male.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about the lady who was appointed by Walker to head up Department of Health and Social
Valerie
Services.
She was at the Native Consortium something.
Yeah. But she sounded like she had some highfalutin position, and she was on all kinds of boards and commissions and really worked closely with the president. And she almost sounded like she's designed
probably
Obamacare.
A community organizer.
Yeah.
The impressive sounding position is not necessarily so.
No. 7:44. Right. Dan Fagan, Glenn Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. Stay with us. Dan Fagan, Glenn Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. Stay with us.
Five, 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
You know, after a hard day at work and then shopping for the holidays, the last thing you want to do is slave over a hot stove.
Well, don't worry about it.
Relief from this hectic time of year is just a jingle away. Call 333-8000 and ring in the holidays with the Sicily Season Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. So relax and let Sicily's deliver hot, fresh, delicious pizza, pasta, calzones, wings, and salads right to your door. It's fast, easy, and affordable. Call 333-8000 and ask for the Season's Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. For the only 24-hour-a-day delivery in Alaska, call 333-8000 or save 20% by ordering online at SicilysPizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's. Wishing you and yours a safe and happy holiday season.
Trail Boss Solutions is an Alaskan-owned, nationally recognized top 500 construction and remodel firm. With our award-winning kitchen designs and remodels, Trail Boss Solutions is fully licensed, bonded, and insured, and has the experienced professionals to take your project from initial design through completion, on time and on budget. Please visit us on the web at trailboss-solutions.com or contact Trail Boss Solutions direct at 646-1403.
On the best days of Christmas, Ulta Beauty gave to me a 12 fragrance gifts at 11, Etsy polished $10 glitter eyeliner, 9 shiny gift card hours, skin protected, 7 sealer glosses, Risky 6 line by Benefit, 5 Urban Decay naked palettes, 4 living proof hair products, 3 Daisy Dream perfumes, 2 Face Cosmetics, and 1 luxury bathrobe free with $40 fragrance purchase while supply lasts.
Hurry in for the best beauty deals and gifts of the season. Ulta Beauty, gift gorgeously.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
That night, though the frost was cruel, when a poor man came inside, gathering winter fuel. Hither Cajun, stand by me.
I'm getting hungry.
If thou knowst
Christmas
it,
What are chestnuts?
I don't know. Some kind of nut. 569-1080. Glenn Biegel, Dan Fagan, Bonnie Cameron here on KOAN, KVNT, streaming live on the World Wide Web on danfagan.us. Love to hear from you this morning. 569-1080, 569-1080.
Big enough to serve you, small enough to care. Earhart Roofing, that is their motto. And my friends who have gone and got their services all tell me the same thing. They're just great at what they do, fast, efficient. They try to make as little of an impact while improving your house dramatically at the same time. Give them a call, 345-5555. There's really nothing that they can't do. Residential, commercial, industrial, licensed, bonded, and insured, and, of course, Better Business Bureau Business of the Year for 2010. Give them a call, 345-5555. When you think roofing, think Earhart, E-A-R-H-A-R-T.
So the city of Anchorage, the Assembly, they passed a big old budget last night. Did you see that?
Kaboom, $472 million. Is that the number I saw?
Yeah, it was over $400 million. That's a lot.
It's a drop in the bucket compared to the school district.
What is it, $500, $600 million?
School district is about 860.
Oh, my God.
Almost double.
And that's the overall budget, including all monies, right?
No, that does not include, my understanding is that does not include the amounts for the capital projects which we pay. The bonded indebtedness for our school.
What's the overall budget with everything?
I don't know.
Well, that 18,000 figure that we hear all the time per student, which is almost twice the national average, does that include the capital budget?
18,500 does, because I think it's about $1,000 per child, and it's about 17.5, something like that. I don't know. Those numbers are pretty close. Once you get up to that high, actually, how can you justify it? Now, this is the claim that the school district employees will make. By the way, a lot of that is paying back old debts on the retirement system, where they're trying to make up. My response to that isn't just because you didn't pay your debts before and we have to pay them now, right. Why does that mean that it's illegitimate to count them in on the cost?
Right.
And they still want to go back to that system, by the way, where we were $12 billion in debt. Now we're $9 billion.
Well, that's one of the things that was concerning to me with regarding the Walker situation was, all the Democrats want to go back to the pension system, and some Republicans like Lisa McGuire and Bob Lynn and others want to open that gaping wound also.
Don't you think that'd be fun if they tried that?
Well, I don't think there are enough in the legislature to.
I agree. No, the Senate, by the way, has gotten much more conservative.
Oh, yeah.
And so the House has gotten more liberal. We lost 2 very close seats this time, and essentially, I think we lost one.
Have you talked to your buddy Anon?
I just got a text from him, so
Okay.
I haven't talked to him a lot.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he'll get in there and give it a go again.
I don't know. Don't know what his plan is. But $472 million, that just seems very.
Now, what did you think of Tom
irresponsible.
McGrath's call yesterday? Because actually, this is where I was listening to the little bit of the show yesterday. I never know where I get information. I get information flying at me and all, and I think, where did I hear that? And it was Tom said that we spend $500 million a year on police. That's
No,
a lot.
$100 million is what he said.
Was it 100?
Yeah, it was 100 million.
Okay.
We
Yeah,
spent
there you
$100
go.
million on police.
That's a lot of money,
Yeah.
right?
It's not enough.
Well, when
According
the
to them, to
dispatchers
the
are
union.
making $180,000.
Mm-hmm. Of course, actually, after the whole Michael Brown thing in Ferguson,
Yeah.
I was thinking,
Oh, they have a tough job.
wow.
but here was my question on, because McGrath's call was interesting, and he was talking about the museum. They supplemented that the Sullivan Arena costs the city money, and
Denina Center.
That just affects the Aces and Denina Center. We take the bed tax, and then he talked about some businesses paid certain taxes and others don't, and he's just kind of going down the line of all the things that he thought should be changed. And as I was listening to his call for the second time yesterday on the feed, on the archive on danfagan.us, you're always trying to formulate your views. You're always trying to be open to new possibilities about what you believe about government. And I've gone from, as hard to the right as you can get to, and I'm not saying that I'm going left by no means, but what about having a museum? I mean, my parents, my brother-in-laws and sisters and the kids, when they went down to see that museum, they were just blown away by that. That was a big deal. And we get so many people here who come to Anchorage to attend conventions that would never happen if we didn't have the Denina Center. They come here, they brag about us, they go back and tell their neighbors and their friends, they spend money in our restaurants and all this stuff, stay in our hotels. Well, where is the line there? Do we just go hard line and say, because I know that even in the convention center, because I did this story when I was working for Channel 2, when they were talking about the convention center the first time around, even the convention center in Honolulu, Hawaii, one of the biggest tourist destinations on the planet, loses money every year. But the economic study is that it pays for itself in spades because of all the conventions that go there. Where do we draw the line here? Do we say, no, if it's not self-sufficient, cut it out, gut it out, get rid of it? No museums, no convention centers, no trails, no flowers. Do you take that hard line, or do you look at a bigger picture? You look at an airport expansion. Our airport is really nice now, and that's the first thing people see when they're here. Do we splurge a little bit, even though it's other people's money, even though people are struggling to pay property taxes? Where's the line?
Well, I'm totally not with Tom on saying we shouldn't have any infrastructure that's paid for by the public. I just disagree with that. I like our parks.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're well used. The Denina Center, by the way, for me, let me go to the strongest piece of evidence here. The Denina Center was the strongest piece of evidence that, and this is where I learned about vision, by the way. The Denina Center was a vision that Mark Begich had, and he implemented the vision in a brilliant way. He went out to all of the people who had hotels.
Can I stop you?
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to make sure all of the recording devices are on as you speak positively about Mark Begich.
No, this is a huge win for him. He goes out to all the hotels and says, I want to increase the bed tax. I want to build a huge convention center. It's going to draw enormous numbers of people to it. It will be utilized. It'll be amazing. It'll be fantastic for downtown. He was absolutely right. Totally 100% right. He couldn't have been more right. It was a brilliant move. He had a vision for what would improve Anchorage. He was right on it. People can make, well, he went over budget. Yeah, he went over budget. It started out to be a $90 million. I think it went up to $120 million. I'm in the Denina Center every other week, sometimes every week, for whatever goes on there. If you're looking for a place that needs 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 people, the Resource Development Council.
We've had almost a dozen hotels built since the Denina Center, even with the bed talks.
About that.
Yeah.
It would not have happened without the Denina Center. So this is where I learned that it's very important for a leader to have a vision, and then to use whatever resources he has to implement the vision. Now,
Keep writing.
Visions can be bad.
Yeah.
Knowles had a vision about building an idiotic, stupid fish processing plant, which was a total waste of money and totally.
That wasn't Knowles.
Yeah, Knowles built that.
No, that was Eldon Mulder. That was a legislature-driven thing.
Well, I don't know. It was built under Knowles,
but it wasn't.
He didn't
Knowles,
veto it.
It wasn't his vision.
Oh, okay. Well, I always thought he was the guy who built that.
Yeah, no.
I thought he claimed credit for it.
You know, I remember doing the stories, and I remember him being there, but it was an Ada-driven thing.
Yeah. Oh no, it was
And Eldon Mulder was the main guy behind it.
Sure.
And
but you don't think Ada had Knowles' blessing on it?
I don't think
he was
needed.
there.
They didn't need the legislature. I don't think the legislature was involved because Ada has discretion on where Ada does not have to check with the legislature.
Well, Knowles wasn't in the legislature. He was the governor.
I understand that, but he would have. But your premise is that Knowles would have to sign off on it. I don't think he had to. I don't think the legislature had to. I know that Eldon Mulder, with the legislature, pressured Ada to invest money, but Ada is like this quasi-government agency.
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't think
It's
they
like
have
a
their
bank
own board.
almost.
Well, they have their own board.
Yeah.
And it was an Ada-driven thing. So I don't. But there's many of documents because I've done the stories where legislators pushed Ada in this direction. I do not remember Knowles being on the forefront of that.
Okay. Well, all I remember was that he was governor at the time,
Yeah.
and that he claimed credit for it, and it was a total
He could have
disaster. It
taken
was an
credit for it,
enormous waste of money.
Yeah.
So, but I don't have any problem at all with.
Let me just. Let you
Yeah.
finish your point. But for those of you who are Tea Partiers and actual true conservatives, unlike Glenn and I, Bonnie has your point, and she's going to address all this in a minute. She's sitting here steaming, so you don't want to miss that. 7:58, Dan Fagan, Glenn Biegel, Bonnie Cameron, KOAN, KBNT, 569-1080. Bonnie Cameron, KOAN, KBNT, 569-1080.
They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games.
And the best find the right tree is to bring the family to warm and comfortable Bell's Nurseries. You know, right now Bell's has a greenhouse full of beautiful trees, and once again this year Bell's is featuring the beautiful Nordman fir trees. The Nordman fir is Europe's #1 Christmas tree, and they're almost always a perfect shape. Plus, wonder of wonders, the needles don't fall off easily. That means a more beautiful tree and a lot less work for you. So this year, come see the great variety of trees in the warm greenhouses at Bell's. Bell's has all the favorites, the Nordman fir, of course, plus the very popular noble firs, grand firs, and Fraser firs. It really is true. The most beautiful trees in Alaska come from Bell's Nurseries. Bell's also has a great selection of fresh wreaths and swags for your home decorating, and a veritable sea of extraordinary poinsettias in 15 different varieties and colors, marbled and burgundy, pink and white and crimson, really 15 different styles. Bell's Nurseries, Specking Road and Cranberry Road, a beautiful Christmas starts at Bell's.
Not just talk. Hot talk. KOAN Anchorage. 95.1 FM. 1080 AM.
Fox News Radio. I'm Chris Foster. Honda is expanding an airbag recall to all 50 states under pressure from federal regulators. The company that makes those airbags says there's no reason for a full manufacturer's recall. Here's Fox News Radio's Steve Taylor in Washington.
Japan's Takata Corporation tells a House committee its test data do not point toward a nationwide recall of the defective airbags, that a replacement program can be limited to states with warmer climates.
With high temperature and high humidity.
Takata's Hiroshi Shimizu. Honda, one of the car makers that use Takata bags, supports a nationwide recall. Company executive Rick Shostak says Takata hasn't yet identified the reason that some airbags blow out shrapnel.
We have theories, but we don't know the cause.
Federal regulators and members of Congress are talking about ways to force Takata to do a nationwide recall. Chris.
Steve Taylor in Washington, thanks. How much leeway should companies give pregnant women on the job? The Supreme Court's taking up a former UPS driver's case. More on that from Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern in D.C.
Instead of being placed on unpaid leave, Peggy Young says UPS should have simply given her light duty after her doctor said she couldn't lift heavy packages during pregnancy. Her challenge takes a look at the decades-old Pregnancy Discrimination Act and whether the law forces companies to temporarily reassign employees during pregnancy. UPS, starting next year, will give employees the option of reassignment, but the company tells the court it did not violate the law. A ruling is expected by late June. Chris.
Jared, another day of rain across California. There's a threat of mudslides in areas that have had wildfires.
Those are of concern to us because without that vegetation on the hillside, it means that things are potentially may come down.
Mike Petros, battalion chief with Orange County Fire Authority. About 60 homes in Silverado Canyon fall under a voluntary evacuation notice. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
For all of you who are inspired to create your own unique holiday cards and gifts.
For all of you, there's Vistaprint.com. At Vistaprint.com, creating personalized holiday cards is simple. Choose from hundreds of designs and add your own photos and special messages. And there's 60% off. Plus, personalized one-of-a-kind gifts are also up to 60% off. It's our best deal of the season. But hurry, offer ends December 7th. The only way to get this incredible deal is to go to Vistaprint.com, click the microphone in the upper right corner, and enter code Radio60. Vistaprint.com, code Radio, the word 60.
This holiday season, a lot of jewelry stores are talking about value and quality. But talk is cheap. At Hellsberg Diamonds, we actually show you what real value and quality mean. With our remarkable asset device, you can see for yourself how and why a diamond sparkles the way it does. Join us as we celebrate 100 years of love with exceptional quality and extraordinary value. Hellsberg Diamonds, a Berkshire Hathaway company.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to never be asked, what would you like for Christmas? And even if you did get asked, you know you wouldn't get it. For most teen youth in the foster system, this is a sad reality. But this year, you can change all that. This holiday season, you can make a difference with Pump Up the Kids. Alaska Integrated Media and this station have once again teamed up with the Alaska Center for Families and the Office of Children's Services for the 5th annual Pump Up the Kids. Did you know that we have hundreds of foster care kids who are in need? Kids who won't have much of a Christmas unless you help. This year, make a holiday wish come true for a local teen youth foster child by adopting a wish list. Go to alaskaim.com and click on the Pump Up the Kids logo to register. We'll contact you and get you a wish list. Or simply make a donation.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number.
Call 877-319-MY-TV.
The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money.
Call 877-319-MY-TV.
At just $24.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card.
Call 877-319-MY-TV. That's 877-319-MY-TV.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can go your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too. so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Why is A&A The Shop Alaska's independent Subaru specialist? How is it they've been voted the best shop in Anchorage not once but 6 times? Well, it's pretty simple. They offer the best warranty in the business. If they work on your Subaru, you're going to get a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on both parts and labor. That's unheard of. A&A The Shop deals exclusively with Subarus, and they also offer $35 oil changes. All their technicians are ASE certified. Call A&A The Shop for an appointment. 562-3919 in Anchorage and 696-2096 in Eagle River. You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
All right, welcome back to Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron here on KOAN, KVNT, also streaming live video, audio, danfagan.us. Our number 569-1080, 569-1080. Keith Montanok is a man you can trust with your automobile repair needs. He operates, owns, and is president of Specialty Truck and Auto, the premier automobile repair business in the state of Alaska. Keith's business is located right there on the lower hillside, South Anchorage area, right across the street from the Long Branch Saloon, right off of Abbott. It's a perfect location if you live anywhere in the area. If you need a ride back to work or back to your house after you drop your car off, if you call in advance, Keith may be able to help you with that, which is a nice perk. The bottom line is you can trust the guy. And that's what we all need in a mechanic. Keith Montanok, Specialty Truck and Auto. Here's the telephone number, 349-1637. 349-1637. Keith Montanok, Specialty Truck and Auto. 7 minutes past 8 o'clock, our number again, 569-1080. So we're talking about the idea, where's the line? We had Tom McGrath call the show yesterday. He made some good points about, we're supplementing the Denina Center, we're supplementing the museum, all of these things that kind of are
sucking us dry.
Well, I would say some of these things are important and necessary. We are a tourist destination. We are a place where people come and spend money here because they want to come here. Granted, it's only 4 or 5 months out of the year, but we got a lot of people who come up here. And without a convention center, we would miss out on a lot of conventions. Without a museum, we wouldn't be as attractive as a tourist destination as we could be, especially in Anchorage proper. Glenn tends to agree with me, I think. Bonnie, you take a different position.
I have so many different ways to go on this. It's not even funny. I'm not sure
What's
where
your
to start.
strongest way?
Well, Tom's point was, when is enough enough? He actually said that. When do we stop paying for all these things? And a lot of it is fluff. The flowers, the coastal trail. These are the things that are thought at the beginning to be such a good idea, but they always have maintenance that comes after them. So you don't want any
flowers downtown?
No, it's not that. It's just that we need to put our priorities in order. Like when a church is going to expand, for instance, I cannot stand it when they go, well, we're going to go into this much debt, and we're going to hope for, our parishioners to, give us the money to pay for it eventually. And, can you promise that you're going to pay us this? Well, they can't. They can say, yeah, we're well-meaning and we're going to, help pay for this project, but in the end, maybe they won't be able to.
Doesn't that work out most of the time, though?
And that's the way I'm seeing this go. And no, it doesn't. A lot of times, I just really like it when churches have the money first,
okay, but let's
and then
get
they
back
build.
to the topic here of the city.
Well, it's the same kind of
so
thing.
You said flowers. That was one of your
No,
examples.
it's the flowers. It's the coastal trail
Okay, so
that has to be maintenance.
No coastal trail.
If you have the money for it right then, and you don't have to go into debt over it, that's one thing.
So then it was okay because we had the money for that.
But look at it now. It's 20 years later or whatever it is, and we're going to have to repave the whole thing.
So what do you want to shut it down?
No, it's just that in the beginning we need to start thinking about these things first, so that
Well, you're always going to have
you've got to
maintenance.
think ahead. You've got to think ahead. The Denina Center, that's great, but you said, well, the hotels were for it. They're actually
They
made
put
more.
a 4% bed tax on themselves in order to do it.
So I'm thinking back to, I don't know, 15 years ago or whatever, when my parents had a bed and breakfast, and there was no bed tax, and then they went out of business because the bed tax was going to be incorporated. So while it might help the big hotels who can afford it, meanwhile the smaller businesses who are here in Anchorage locally, it hurt.
Why would it affect small owners?
Well, for instance,
operators
my mom
different?
would have had to raise her prices.
Yeah.
Or
they probably had to raise their prices too, because somebody's got to pay the tax.
yeah, well, eventually she just went out of business because it got to be, she didn't want to charge people the extra tax.
Well,
She wanted
that's
to
her.
keep, well, there was lots of them. She wanted to keep their prices low. I just get Tom's point because, like he said, when is enough is enough? When is enough enough?
But I don't think you understand the question. I'm looking for specifics here. Glenn and I have said, yeah, we think the convention center is a good idea.
If you have the money
Okay.
to pay for it,
So
right up front, not go into debt
I'm
over
gonna
it.
go back to the things you mentioned. First thing you said was flowers.
That's
So are
fluff.
you saying no flowers?
Maybe
No
in times
flowers in
in
Anchorage.
times of trouble.
A tourist destination, the city of Anchorage. You want no flowers.
I didn't say no flowers. I just want to be able to pay for them up front.
Okay, so
And maybe we need to get rid of the flowers if we're going to be in such big financial troubles.
so no flowers.
Do people come here for our flowers?
I think it helps when you walk up and down Anchorage to have flowers. Yes, I think that adds to the ambiance.
So
of the
you
tourist
think that if your family came up here and there was no flowers, they'd be like, where did the flowers
I
go?
think they would be like, this is kind of a dirty, not very aesthetically pleasing town. Yeah, I think people would say that.
I disagree.
Really?
I think people come up
Have
here
you ever
for the
been
mountains.
to a town without any flowers?
I mean, probably. They're not memorable. I don't look back on a town and
Well,
say,
it's
oh,
part
the
of the
flowers
overall
were so pretty.
ambiance.
The only place I've ever said that about was Oregon, and that was because their flowers are gorgeous all year round, pretty much.
All right, so no flowers. You want to shut down the coastal trail?
Well, I just wonder how much it would save us.
So do you want to shut it down? Do you think it's a...
I don't think it should have been built to begin with.
Really?
Hmm.
Do you have any idea what a quality of life that coastal trail issue?
If people want it, they will build it themselves. I don't think that if Tom's
Bonnie,
note-
I want to get clear on this point. We elected a mayor. We voted for the mayor. We voted for a governor. We voted for a legislator, and they built this thing. We did want it. They did what we wanted. You didn't want it, but you're not in a majority. We did what we wanted. We did what we thought was best.
That's true. I just disagreed with it.
Okay.
And I don't think I would. And I did
So
not.
we did what we wanted.
Right, and I did not vote for them, but
Well,
the
let me just
majority
say-
did. I agree with that.
Let me just say that when I lived in Bootlegger's Cove, during the summer, that coastal trail was my best friend. I used to walk that thing and it was an amazing thing. You'd see people riding bikes with kids on strollers. It was gorgeous. It's just such a quality of life thing.
That's great. Then they can pay for it. I've been there 3 times maybe.
Wouldn't that be great, by the way, Bonnie, to say that people along the coastal trail should pay some kind of, even it would be a teeny tiny little tax, but $5 per 100,000, that would be good
Whatever.
because then you have the users pay for it.
We got into it over the city parks too. That's another thing I don't think should be paid for by the city. I think that the private, and it has happened. Private people who live in those areas have built parks before.
That's
we are
a problem.
$18 trillion in debt now. I have a limit on my credit card. I don't know about you, but this country is
US
acting
doesn't.
like nobody has limits.
I'm hearing a scarcity mentality.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
8:14. We'll continue with the dark world with no flowers and no trails of Bonnie Cameron. We get calls backing up too. 8:14. The trails of Bonnie Cameron. We get calls backing up too. 8:14.
While you're young, take the girls tonight and sing this sleighing song.
Call 569-1080 KOAN.
You know, after a hard day at work and then shopping for the holidays, the last thing you want to do is slave over a hot stove. Well, don't worry about it. Relief from this hectic time of year is just a jingle away. Call 333-8000 and ring in the holidays with the Sicily Season Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. So relax and let Sicily's deliver hot, fresh, delicious pizza, pasta, calzones, wings, and salads right to your door. It's fast, easy, and affordable. Call 333-8000 and ask for the Season's Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. For the only 24-hour-a-day delivery in Alaska, call 333-8000 or save 20% by ordering online at SicilysPizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's. Wishing you and yours a safe and happy holiday season.
Hi, this is Jonathan Martin at Harrington and Company. Sellers, if you are going to sell your home, now may very well be the best time. The current interest rates are still very low in comparison to previous loan rates. Now is the time to take advantage of this uncommon phenomenon. We will look back at this period as a golden opportunity to buy or sell. Homeowners planning to sell should call us at 244-0821. We will be happy to come out and do a comparative market analysis at your convenience. Call Jonathan Martin at Harrington and Company, 244-0821. That's 244-0821.
Hi, this is Brian Stan. I was a Marine Corps officer before becoming a UFC fighter. Military experience can add greatly to your life, as it has mine. The Air Force Reserve offers many part-time jobs in Alaska, which will allow you to continue your civilian career at the same time. You'll receive excellent training, educational assistance, and many other benefits. Join an outstanding team in the Air Force Reserve. For more information on the Air Force Reserve, go to afreserve.com.
This message is sponsored by the Air Force Reserve and aired by the Alaska Broadcasters Association and this local station.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080KOAN.com.
Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. KOAN. Oh, I love the boldness of Bonnie Cameron. She is such a refreshing change. You know, she'll say anything. She'll gonna stick to her guns, even if it means pulling Poppy away from the backyard barbecue. She is tough, and I love that. Now, just so you'll know, we're going to take Gene's call here in a second, 569-1080. You don't want any flowers downtown. You want to shut down the coastal trail. What about lighting the town square for Christmas? You got a problem with that, too?
You know, maybe the businesses in downtown should pay for the flowers.
Okay.
I just think that if you let the public take care of it, they will.
So
if it's something that the people want.
What about the coastal trail? Who's going to pay for that? The businesses?
I think that people who use it would pay for it.
So what, do you have like a toll booth at the coastal trail?
There was trails before the coastal trail, you know.
So what do you put a toll booth up? You got to walk to the toll booth and give the guy $1? And
I just think that if people want it that bad, they'll collect the money and, you know, do fundraisers or whatever.
That's what we do. It's called government.
No, that is not a voluntary thing. You're taking money from somebody. That was Tom's point too.
The people
There's
we
things
elect.
that he doesn't want that he's being forced at gunpoint. He actually said to have taken from him.
But there are people, as Glenn pointed out, that we elect who do things that they believe is in our best interest, and one of them was the coastal trail.
And they're gone, and we're still having to pay for it.
But at the time, nobody was taking heat for building a coastal trail.
Oh, yes, they were.
Oh, yes, they were.
Yes, they were.
Tony Knowles took a lot of heat.
And,
It cost tens of millions of dollars for the state.
Let's go to Gene. Gene, you're on. Hello, Gene.
Oh, Gene, call back. There she is.
Let's see. We got some technical problems here.
You know, also I wanted to point out that in the 80s we had a lot of, or actually before the 80s, there was lots of things built.
Just do it. Just pop her on there, Brian. You have to write it.
Ah.
All right, Mark. Mark, you're on.
As far as the flowers downtown,
yeah,
put something in that regenerates every year. You know, you don't
Perennials.
have to plant them. You don't have to maintain them a whole lot. Not as much as they are now.
You mean like the flower baskets that cost
No, I'm
$60,
saying
$80
plant
per
something
basket?
in the ground that, you know, the end of
Perennials.
the season, the seed goes in, you know, falls to the ground and it comes back the next year.
My
You know what
guess,
I mean?
by the way, on
Or-
these flowers is if the city wasn't going to do it, the Downtown Business Alliance would have to,
Well, there
because
you
they
go.
realize that there's no way anybody's coming to this town if it looks this bad.
Well,
That'd be my guess.
you don't want it looking bad, but there's a plant you could put in there that would regenerate every year, or put out a flower, like a bush that puts out a flower.
Who's going to water them?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think
but
that's going to
still
work, because these are like pots that hang off the light things, and you don't want them up there any other time
And
than.
I'm telling you, those things cost $80 a basket.
Oh yeah,
It's a nice luxury.
So,
And then
do
you're
something
right.
else.
Then you have to have somebody water them. You have to have the guy come along and water them all the time.
Thank you,
Take
Mark.
up a little bit of cement and plant them in the ground.
Appreciate it.
you know, can I mention one more thing?
Sure.
I have one
You
more
don't have
thought
to
here.
ask to mention.
Before the recession in the 80s, there was strip malls built like crazy. And then once the recession hit, those things stand empty. And a lot of them still do stand empty. And I just see something like that happening with these convention centers that are built, the coastal eventually, if you go broke, if a city goes broke and can't afford these things, they have to stop paying. They can't have them. And people will stop coming up here if the economy is so bad. They'll stop using the convention center. They'll stop, renting hotel rooms. This could be bad. And we could have a whole bunch of buildings sitting empty.
Hey, Brian, you got any whiskey in there? Pour me a big old tall glass of whiskey.
It's reality.
Maybe some marijuana.
We have to live within our means.
Oh my goodness.
Well, this is, this gets back to Tom's specific objection. He is a business owner, and his problem is we're not living within our means. We're living within his means, because he's the guy who has to pay the doggone taxes. So these are very painful issues for him, and he truly does want limited government. And I think there is, because we elected our current mayor, who is probably, other than Tom Fink, he's probably the smallest government mayor we've ever had. And there's going to be a big question that comes up in the next election as to whether or not we want huge contracts to roll out to the employees' unions that essentially run the city.
569-1080. Joe.
Thank you, Dan. Hello, Glenn and Bonnie.
Morning.
Hello.
Merry Christmas to y'all. Love that show today. I tell you, you guys keep playing Christmas music like that.
Isn't it pretty?
You get more and more listeners.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and I like the Christmas story, Dan. Now you got to tell everybody about a couple years ago. I just got home from work. You were filling in for Glenn, and you were saying that when you were a kid, you used to sneak downstairs before Christmas, and there was one piece of tape holding the wrapping on that present that you wanted to pull off.
Well, no, I remember I basically said that I would unwrap presents for myself prior to Christmas, and my mother. This is how much faith my mother has in me and how much she cares about me. The next time I went home, she sat me next and said, "You didn't really do that, did you?" I said, "Yeah, Mom, I really did." She said, "I don't believe you." She didn't believe.
Oh.
She wouldn't believe that I would actually do that.
Not Danny.
I think it was cool, but anyway.
She was not happy.
Yeah. Hey, on those coastal, I'm going to get ready to run the coastal trail here in a minute, and I go all the way to Earthquake Park. I'm going to start at Westchester Lagoon.
Love the coastal trail.
With my ice bug shoes, got cleats on them,
Yeah.
And it doesn't. The trail's there. It doesn't need to be maintained. If a tree falls across it, you just whack. Somebody could go down. Anybody, I can do it. Go down, whack it up, and get it off the trail. Bonnie is right in the sense that we shouldn't be spending so much money, especially when we're watching this. To me, it's the school district.
Yeah.
That's
it. That's the one that really gets us.
Yeah, because what it is, Glenn, is an advanced daycare center. That's what I think of Anchorage School District.
In some cases they're very efficient and they're very effective at educating kids, where there's a cohesive, strong education culture like South Anchorage, but in a lot of places there's only so much a teacher can do.
That's right. And what they're doing now is feeding and clothing and getting the kids to be respectful of each other's races and You know, what happened to the old fundamentals of education, Dan, where, you know, you learn how to read, write, and arithmetic and be able to have enough knowledge in your head to start a business, small business, you know. But, hey, I'm telling you guys, I love that show today. You guys keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks,
and,
Joe.
Yeah.
We appreciate you listening.
And you're welcome. You guys have a good day.
All right. You know, when we're talking about government here, and look, there's so much waste in government. There's so much government money that's spent for the very promotion of incompetence, laziness. You know, every time you give people free money and enable them to continue to make bad decisions, which is where most of our government money goes now, that's where my heartache comes. If you want to beautify a city, if you want to improve the quality of life of a city by putting in a park, a trail, flowers, I have no problem with that if collectively as a city you say that's what we want. And I think that's what people in Anchorage want. They want a city that has a nice convention center, that has a nice museum, that has a nice coastal trail. I think that's the collective will of the city. Now, if it was rammed down our throats and we didn't want that, that'd be a different issue. But I think that that's the will of the people here. And in a representative republic, that's what happens. What?
That's not representative republic when you're voting on all these things all the time and nobody has a clue what the budget is. That's not really representative.
Mark Begich campaigned on that convention center, and he brought it before the people, and I think most people think it was a good idea. And I think most people now would say that coastal trail is one of the best things that ever happened to Anchorage.
Maybe they should.
And I think most people would say, yeah, I want flowers downtown.
They vote yes on everything, so I'm sure they would.
The only problem I have with what you said, by the way, Dan, is government is not the only actor.
No,
you
I
know, the
agree.
Downtown Business Alliance would probably take care of the flowers.
Yeah, there's
I
creative ways.
I like people paying for the things that they use, by the way.
Yeah.
I haven't used a coastal trail in several years. I would like for the people who do use it to pay for it.
569-1080. Ken.
Morning. How are you guys this morning?
Well.
I haven't been in Alaska very long and fairly new resident.
Where are you from?
Originally from Tennessee.
Oh, good for you.
And I think Bonnie has some very good points. If people want flowers, for example, a small town in the area where I'm from, there was a ladies' garden club, and there was a move to beautify downtown, and they took up money for a trust fund, and they took care of the flowers.
Yeah.
And the trust fund.
But
took
what
care
would
of
you
it
say,
in
Ken, about
perpetuity.
what would you say something about something as large as a coastal trail that's, you know,
the coastal trail, you know, I haven't seen it, so I really can't say much about it because I haven't been here long enough.
but let's
to,
just, it's a trail that basically runs along the coast, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 miles, very long trail, beautiful trail. That's not something the private sector could really get involved in building. Would you oppose the government building something like that?
I'm generally opposed to government doing much of anything.
Yeah.
The less they can do, the better, in my personal opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of people that I'm friends with. People that don't agree with me, I don't stay friends with. But
don't we lose credibility as conservatives? Because really, the vast majority of waste that's perpetrated by government today is in the welfare state. That's where most.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
when we get all hung up on flowers and trails and parks, people just look at us as curmudgeons.
Did you just hear yourself? We lose credibility as conservatives when we don't go for fluff. I mean, that's what conservatism
No, that's
is.
not what I said. I said when we get hung up on parks and flowers and trails, instead of the real culprit, which is the welfare state.
In essence, saying no to everything.
Yes.
We don't really care what our community looks like.
Yes.
We don't really care anything about
No
the community.
government.
The most important thing is I just don't want to pay taxes for anything.
Yes.
That's too harsh of a message.
Thanks for
my opinion.
Thanks for the call, kid. 829.
In my opinion.
Thanks for the call, kid. 829.
The adoring bend the knee while we own the mist.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
Local news brought to you by Jansen Funeral Homes, Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, and Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home. Jansen Funeral Homes, where just like family, they're there when you need them.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. Matsu Borough Planning Commissioners have delayed a decision. That proposed dump in Palmer. The West Lakes Fire Department has improved its rating with the Insurance Services Office. The end result, according to officials, will be lower home insurance rates for many residents of Big Lake and Meadow Lakes. A horrific story. A Palmer resident is headed to 50 years in prison for sex crimes against children. Prosecutors say 49-year-old Robert Cunningham used his large physical size, 6'5", 300 pounds, to intimidate children and also force them into submission with a nitrous oxide mask. That's effing disgusting. They, like many in the community, say they're happy he got the maximum sentence he deserved. Stakes have been raised for next year's Iditarod. Race officials have announced 2015 winner will receive $70,000, which is the largest payout ever. That's your Hot Talk News update.
For today, we'll have a blend of sun and clouds, high 28, a partly cloudy night, low 21. Then tomorrow, a partly sunny day, high 29, and a low tomorrow night of 20. Partly sunny skies again Friday with a high 27. Then Saturday becoming mostly cloudy with a high 27. Cloudy day for Sunday, high of 30. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Local news, weather, and the Dan Fagan Glen Biegel Show on Hot Talk. KOAN. Brought to you by Connect Country Liquor. With 4 convenient locations in the Valley and Talkeetna, you won't find a better selection.
94013.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
What does acne, hair loss, and nausea all have in common? Well, they're all side effects of stress. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN's chief medical correspondent. Sometimes stress reveals itself in unusual ways. We often think of stress as impacting us mentally, but it can be much more than that. When people internalize stress, it starts to manifest physically. For example, hair loss. Hair loss gets accelerated by a hormone known as androgen, and levels of this hormone increase when you are stressed. Cramps, nausea, even a sudden increase or decrease in appetite can be another physical symptom of stress. Adult acne, another red flag. Similar to stress-induced hair loss, your skin gets aggravated by higher than normal stress hormones, and that can fuel breakouts. And also, doctors aren't sure why of this, but stress is one of the most common causes for eye twitching. So don't ignore these signs. It's time to start dealing with your stress. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Investing in bonds involves risk, including the possible loss of principal. Income may be subject to state, local, or federal alternative minimum tax. When interest rates rise, prices will fall. When interest rates fall, prices will rise.
I'm at a place in my life where I need investment income. That's why I invest in tax-free municipal bonds. I love the income they provide. Income that's federally tax-free. At this point, that's exactly the kind of income I need.
Tax-free municipal bonds can serve as the cornerstone for a conservative portfolio. They offer income that's tax-free. Henyon & Walsh is a leading expert in tax-free municipal bonds. We're committed to finding you the best bonds to meet your investment goals. We'll even send you our informative bond guide, absolutely free, if you call right now. 1-800-908-5154. If you have at least $10,000 to invest, consider municipal bonds. Take charge of your investments today and keep more of your hard-earned money. Call now to receive your copy of our informative bond guide. It's free, so call right now. 1-800-908-5154. 1-800-908-5154. Henyon & Walsh Inc., member of FINRA.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist with Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
AP face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed.
All right, here we are, 569-1080. Glen Biegel, Dan Fagan, Bonnie Cameron. I don't know how to set. We got to reset up everything because we have different audience every segment. Bonnie basically doesn't want government to do anything. Fair?
No.
Well, what is it justify?
Essential services
no
are not flowers and
no
parks.
trails, no parks, no museums, no convention centers.
I think that the private sector would pay for things if they wanted it bad enough.
But see, Glenn even made that point to you, and then you fought that. The convention center was not, the Anchorage Convention Center, the Denina Center, was not paid for by property tax owners. It was paid for by people who visit our city and stay in hotels. And yet you even have a problem with that.
Is it paid for? Completely paid for?
No, it operates. My understanding is it operates at a loss. I don't know how.
Oh no, I don't think it does now.
I think it's freaking full all the time.
Yeah, no, I don't believe it is operating at a
Okay,
loss.
well that's good. Most of the time, convention centers do operate at a loss,
Right.
and the Sullivan Arena operates at a loss.
But Bonnie, because you're so negative on everything. So even when Glenn presents you with the convention center scenario, which says that the visitors will pay for the convention center, the hotels agreed to this tax. You don't even like that idea.
My point is that my whole premise is that if the economy tanks, there's not going to be people flying up here, staying in hotels to pay for that.
Okay, so what you're saying then is this is such a scarcity.
You have to
mentality.
think about the future.
But then you'd never do anything, Bonnie. You'd never buy a house. You'd never buy a car.
I can't buy a house here in Anchorage.
You'd never buy a watch. You'd never buy clothes. If your premise on what you should spend money on is that once you spend that money, you'll never have to maintain it because you might lose your job or the economy could tank. I mean, that is just obscene.
Here's what I don't think you're measuring out, Bonnie, is there are benefits that we get from having a convention center. What you're saying is potential future problems could outweigh those benefits. I don't think you've done that calculation accurately. We have gained an enormous amount from having that convention center here. And even if there were problems in the future, we would still have benefited from it for all those years.
You know, my original point was, I guess, going back to the flowers and the coastal trail. It really wasn't just about the convention center, even though I do think that it's ostentatious and, you know, in the future might sit empty. That could happen. It could. I mean, it's a possibility.
What's the problem with that?
The whole point is that there's some things that government just should not pay for, and I do think that if people were open to the fact that, wow, private industry might actually pay for things.
That's what happened with the convention center.
They might have their eyes open.
That's what happened with the convention center. Private industry kicked in the bill.
Good.
So why are you opposed to it?
Well,
because someday the economy may tank and it may mothball?
I like it when things are paid for ahead of time.
It is paid for.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we know that it's fully paid for?
Yes.
So when it's, you know, if people do not come up here anymore because they can't afford it, and we still have to pay for the heating in the building and all that kind of stuff, it will go back on the taxpayer.
Negative approach
you know,
to life.
I don't know about the Denina Center, but I do know that there are some things that we just should not worry about paying for, and they are
so wait a minute,
extra
are you
things.
actually going to come around and say the Denina Center is an example?
No,
of how
because I remember the bed tax going in, and it was a huge thing for my parents.
Yeah,
and that's what
Bonnie
I remember.
actually, her parents had difficulty with the bed tax. Let me see if I can make Bonnie's point as well as it can be made. The government shouldn't do anything other than essential activities, and it should farm out to the private sector and try and force the private sector to do what it should do, like put flowers downtown, because that's for downtown businesses, quite frankly.
No, it's not. It's for everybody who goes downtown. It's for the tourists. It's for everybody. A beautiful downtown is for everyone. It's a quality of life issue.
Yeah, I think that the people downtown are the people who benefit from it in large measure, and that the businesses down there.
Business owners?
Yeah, I think that
do
they
you ever
should pay
go
for
downtown?
it. I go through downtown.
Well, I spend a lot of time in downtown,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of other people do because I see a lot of people down there.
And that's good. And you don't think the business owners would foot the bill for a couple $100,000 of flowers?
Yeah, I suppose
they
that'll
would.
work. I don't
Yeah.
have a problem with
That'd
that.
be my guess. Anyway, but the difficulty here is Bonnie's got a problem going to the voters and saying, okay, now we're going to take your property if you don't foot the bill for something that we all want to do.
Yeah.
Well, not everybody wants to do that, so we try to keep that to a minimum. But the problem here is, the difficulty with that idea is that doesn't represent a majority view. Majority view of our town wants trails and parks and new roads and new streets and all these capital projects and
Do you
improvements.
oppose roads and streets?
No, that's essential.
569, but people could leave someday. And
I
get
vote against the
mothballed.
parks, by the way.
Bethany, you're on. Why does she call? She always calls and then she's never there. Don't take her call anymore. Well, she's never there.
That's true. That's twice in a row. But
Yeah.
maybe she just went through a dead zone.
Well, whatever. Look,
But she was on hold a while.
There's this scarcity mentality
That's my fault.
that is so predominant with people. This idea that there's only so much to go around, and that we're eventually going to shrivel and shrink, and that things are going to happen that are going to be really bad, and everything's going to be bad, and it's going to be negative.
Or it could be bad.
And then there's an abundance mentality, which believes that the individual, if free, can create as much wealth and value as they're allowed to. That the better days are ahead. That better times are ahead. As we make good decisions, prosperity and wealth will ensue. And that we shouldn't build a convention center because it could mothball someday if the economy tanks is a perfect example of the scarcity mentality. As opposed to, if we build this convention center and we get a bunch of new conventions in here, and those conventioneers tell other friends and other people, then all of a sudden it begins to snowball, and we begin to get more tourists as a result of it. That's the difference between the scarcity mentality and the abundance mentality. And the conservative movement, which is legitimately, justifiably angry at all of the waste on welfare and degrees at the universities that will never earn anybody any living, and paying private sector people or public sector people 35% more than private sector people. These are all legitimate issues. But when conservatives begin to adopt this scarcity mentality, things are going to get so bad, we shouldn't spend any government money on anything because things are going to get, it's the Brad Keithley model. Well, the end is nigh, we're going to fall off a cliff. I don't think people will gravitate to the conservative message if that's what we're about.
I'm not trying to manipulate people to do that.
I'm not manipulating anybody. But this idea we shouldn't build a convention center even if the private sector will
We
pay
had
for
a
it
convention center.
because it might mothball.
The Egan.
The Egan Center would not equip the larger convention.
Then we should get rid of the Egan Center and do something else with it then. We should not have both.
Oh, my God, the negativity.
No.
If there's
And
this cloud, you're like this gal in
they're
there, the
already-
kid in Linus.
they are already
what was the kid
wanting.
that smelled that had the cloud around him? The negative. What's his name? Linus?
Look, I'll make Bonnie's point again here.
They want a new
What
pack,
she's
too.
saying is, look, it's all good to have good information and you operate off the best information, but you don't go into debt that you can't pay back. Now, that wasn't the case with the convention center. It was debt that we could pay back. It wasn't the case with the coastal trail. Well, frankly, the state blew most of the money on that. But we are going to have to maintain it, and that's the case. But I think the majority of people in our town think, look, that's a pretty legitimate, reasonable expense. So, there are two sides to this. You don't operate, the world is happy and lovely, and I don't care what happens in the future, so I'm going to spend all my money today. You don't do that either.
8:44 is the time. 8:44 is the time.
Place like home for the holidays. 'Cause no matter how far away you roam, when you pine for the sunshine of a friendly
Don't just sit there. Give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
Mark your calendars. It's time for the 15th annual Guns and Hoses charity hockey game, where Anchorage Fire and Police face off against Alaska's military at the Sullivan Arena. Cheer on Alaska's finest. Sunday, December 7th. There will be tons of fun for the whole family. Free pony rides and face painting. Visit with Santa and see the holiday fire truck. Say hi to Star the reindeer. Shoot to win a new car. The puck drops at 4. Come on down to the Sullivan Arena. Sunday, December 7th at 4. And cheer on your favorite team.
You know what was the #1 gift Alaskans sent to their relatives for Christmas last year? Well, if you said Alaska king crab, you're right on. Last year, New Sagaya sent over 20,000 pounds of king crab to Alaskan friends and relatives outside. That's more than 10 tons. New Sagaya makes it so easy. For just $165, New Sagaya sends 5 pounds of extra-large golden king crab legs anywhere in the continental United States. And that includes UPS next-day air delivery. And New Sagaya does it right for you. The big crab legs and claws all boxed in the styrofoam box with dry ice and gel ice. It's guaranteed to arrive in perfect condition. But you'll want to avoid the rush as much as you can, so call right now. New Sagaya will program your delivery for whatever day you specify. Just call 1-800-764-1001. The King Crab Festival for just $165. From New Sagaya, 1-800-764-1001. Or order on the web from newsagaya.com.
There's a lot of so-called experts out there claiming to have the key to success in business for a price. Are you ready for real business advice you can trust without a fee? Then don't miss Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Advice from people in the know. Technology, finance, taxes, and more. Business people helping business people take their skills and services to the next level. Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. on Hot Talk, KOAN, 95.1 FM and 1080 a.m.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
I don't know how else to do it.
I got a good example, by the way, of somebody who represented the scarcity mentality perfectly. Sean Parnell. You know, he could have built that Knik Arm Bridge.
He could have.
He could have built the Knik Arm Bridge. He could have changed the face of Alaska.
He was afraid, which is what the scarcity mentality lives in.
Yes, but he didn't have a vision. He did not have a vision.
Bonnie has no vision with it.
If he had a vision, because this is what I think Sean Parnell essentially said, well, we may not need the bridge in the future. I mean, I know we kind of need it now, but what if things don't go perfectly well and then, gosh, things are going to be bad? But you're living under the difficulties of him not having the vision to build that bridge because you can't afford a house. And you can't even get to Anchorage and live in a house that's in a reasonable distance away, like 2 miles away, which is how far the houses would be across the Knik Arm. That's the difficulty with living, trying to figure out all of the things that might happen in the future. The
worst case scenario.
The fact is the Denina Center was a good investment. Mark Begich made a good call on it.
The economy could tank someday and it'll mothball.
I know. Well,
so it'll never be a good investment
until if you live in that
200 years from now, and after 200 years we don't tank, and it doesn't mothball, then
we should have done it.
That's what you're operating under.
Then we would have known that we should have done it. But that's what I think might have happened to Sean Parnell. Why? Because I can't figure out why he didn't build the bridge. I literally cannot figure out. I think he would have won governorship.
He had 6 years to do it.
Look, that bridge is going to mean more to me and my kids than the gas line. That's how big of a deal this bridge is because it gives us an opportunity to buy houses we can afford, rather than houses that we can't afford here in town.
Is that Jerry?
That's what I'm thinking about. Just what you're describing. It's somebody who. He didn't think he needed a vision. He might have been afraid of a vision for whatever reason. It was a scarcity mentality kind of thing.
You said it in hour 2, and you even had to go to the place where you praised Begich. You got to have a vision, man.
You have to have a vision as a leader.
Got to have a vision.
Now, you've got to be it's got to be a smart vision, and Bonnie's right. It's got to be paid for. He figured out how to do that. Look, it was brilliant. But look, the bridge would have paid for itself in jobs, in expansion, in cheaper houses. It would have been an amazing transformation for us.
Jerry, you're on.
Getting back to Bonnie's thing about the flowers in the city.
Yeah.
You know, I sent a message to Dan Sullivan when he was the first mayor that something that might be able to offset some of the cost. In the city of Anchorage, you have approximately 15 different community councils. And also you have a lot of private organizations, basically gardening organizations that would, I think, jump at the chance of saying this little chunk of the flowers that are being raised are maintained and looked after and cared after by the Turnagain Community Council, or by the such and such gardening club, and divide some of those areas up where the residents of Anchorage can take pride in how beautiful their little part of Anchorage looks, as opposed to the one maybe next door, which might be Spenard. I happen to live in the Turnagain Community Council, and several times we go over, the council members receive a note to go to Linary Park or to Balta Cephala Park to do some ground maintenance, getting rid of dandelions and doing some pruning. And on a certain Saturday, we all bring our tools and our gloves and whatever and go do the work that needs to be to keep that park maintained so that it looks nicer at no charge to the city. So I think maybe an idea like that, if it was really pushed and encouraged and enriched, you would have people who belong to these little clubs or community council areas saying, hey, let's make our part of town look pretty.
Yep. No, Jerry, you know, there's a balance here, and I agree with Bonnie and Glenn that we should always look to the private sector first. Don't always look to the government sector first. If the downtown partnership is willing to pay for the flowers, if the hotels are willing to pay for the bed tax to get a convention center, let's do it. Let's go for it. But sometimes there's going to be cases like with the coastal trail, I think it would be a perfect example, where you're going to need the government to step in, or a park, or a trail anywhere. It's just, you can't automatically disqualify the government.
Well, I'm not saying to disqualifying.
Yeah,
I'm saying to let the citizens provide some sort of additional care.
Right. Yeah. And I love your suggestion because it involves people in the beautification of their city. It gives them ownership of it.
Yeah, because and a lot of the people who work on those things in the summertime are non-residents, which is an interesting little scenario. They are college students who come up here sometimes on internships. They get hired by the city. They work. They don't spend much money here, and they take whatever earnings they have back out of the community. And that seems a questionable thing sometimes as to the number of government so-called jobs that are held by non-residents in the short term. So, you know, the one out there by the airport, when you cross from Spenard to Jewel Lake Road, and that big plot there right at the corner, you've probably all seen that. You know, that's all taken care of by paid workers, which community members might want to do that. If they were given the auspices by the city government to say, hey, do you want to take care of this part?
Yeah.
Well, jump on it and beautify it, plant flowers, do whatever you want to, as long as you make it look nice. We don't want it to look downhill, but that's the first little jump of flowers that people see when they arrive in Anchorage.
That's very nice.
Sit on International Road and cross Jewel Lake.
Yeah, that's great. Good example. Thank you, Jerry.
You bet.
Do we all here agree that Dan Sullivan is a conservative, right?
Yes.
The mayor.
The mayor.
Yeah.
You know, he had every opportunity to cut the flower program. He has got line item veto. You know, I mean, he didn't cut the flower program, and so I think a lot of times for people who never get elected, and this is one of the difficulties I have wondering what Joe Miller would do, because when you get elected, then, well, we have a flower program. It's an asset to the city. It brings people here. It beautifies our city. It does make a difference, and I just read an article forwarded by Bethany, by the way, about the beautification program, and he basically listed it as an asset to the city. Now, what he did with it was, I want to make sure all the waste is out of this program. So he cut one of the gardener's positions. He cut the funding for it to make sure that it was operating just as the rest of the city had to, at as optimal as it could. So he was a good manager of it. But I just want to point out that a lot of times conservatives get this idea that, and conservatives who are never elected, people who talk, people who go to conservative meetings, that the government shouldn't do anything. When we elect conservatives, by the way, it isn't that they don't do anything. That's not the way they govern. And so I just want people to know he is a conservative. Dan Sullivan is a conservative. And what he did is he got waste and he got abuse out of the system, and he cut the program's budget, but he still funded it because he knows it's important. So we do make these decisions, and it's okay. Conservatives have a brain. They know what's going on. Anyway, that's just a thought I had.
Good 6 months out of the year, there's no flowers out there anyway. So what are we going to clean
More
the
than
dirt
that.
off the snow?
More than that, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, right. I mean, does that make sense? Does that point hit home at all, Bonnie?
Yes.
Okay.
But I didn't like that you said that these conservatives just go to meetings and they're never elected. I thought that was kind of
Well,
a
look,
dig.
frankly, I do deal with a lot of people who, we have to do this. Well, no, you got to go out and convince the majority of people that is what we have to do.
I think it's swinging that way, though. I think more and more people are
agree.
starting to see that, and more of those
yeah.
true conservatives are going to get elected.
As Dan brings up, what is it? 100? How much money for the dispatcher?
Oh, well, they make between 180 and 200,000.
Okay, people hear those numbers and they go, okay, yeah, that's got to change. Yeah, no, that definitely has to change. You know when's going to change? It's either going to change for the better or for the worse the next time we have a mayoral election, which, by the way, is in April. So if you want them to continue to be paid either 180 to 200 or more $1,000 a year, then look, don't go vote, don't care, don't make a difference. So those are the times when I think conservatives do have something to say. What I get sick of is conservatives say we have to X. No, actually, society doesn't have to X just because you say they have to do X, Y, or Z. And I get tired of that kind of, I should run the world. I want to be I want to be a dictator. I get a little tired of it.
I find with a lot of conservatives, they're trying to out-conservative each other. Well, I don't think government should do this. Well, I don't think government should do that. Well, I don't believe government should do that. Here's how hardline I am. I don't believe government should do that.
Yep. Yeah. And then when that gets out into the public just goes,
what's wrong with these people?
What's going on? What are you talking about?
Because the conservative movement is built upon the premise that government is too big and wasteful. The smaller the individual, the larger the government, which is a legitimate cause.
Mm-hmm.
And 97% of the problem is the welfare state and labor unions, not flowers, convention centers, and trails and parks. And that's the whole point. But in an attempt to out-conservative your fellow conservatives, I'm so hardline conservative, I don't want flowers. How do you like that? And it's like people looking at you like, what is wrong with this person?
Yeah.
No, they're not. They just called in and said that they agree.
Yeah. On a conservative talk show. There you go.
There are people out there who agree.
No, there are a lot of people out there who agree.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about
7
it.
to 8% would say
look,
no flowers.
For the people who bear the large measure, particularly business owners like Tom, who carry an end of the year inventory, they have to pay a vast amount of money to the city in order to keep these programs running. And you know that it's a very personal thing. He's got to raise his prices, maybe lose business because the city does things that he doesn't want it to do. So he's got this very real, visceral, and honest reaction to a city government that he thinks does too much. And we should respect that, by the way. We have to be aware that Tom's there. It's not like he just goes away because he doesn't run things, but that push, that draw for us to have government do only what it should, that's very important for people to keep in their mind.
Fagan Glen Biegel and Bonnie.
Merry Christmas.
8:58. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m.